and the really steamy stuff. Listen free with a 30-day trial at audible.com. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Hi, I'm Emily, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, where a small box with a burgundy bow will help you win the holidays. As an in-house designer, I love creating meaningful, fine jewelry gifts. Choose a necklace with a gorgeous infinity charm to symbolize your everlasting love. Or go for a personalized piece with an engraving, their zodiac sign, favorite color gemstone, or their initial accented with pave diamonds. Because a friend wants you to be a holiday hero. Stop by or shop now at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
It's the season of giving, and my friends at Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling invite you to join them in a wonderful cause. During the month of November, Hope is raising money for the Colburn Place and will match donations up to $10,000. Colburn Place is where survivors find safety, support, and hope for a new beginning, and Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling is proud to support such a fantastic local organization. To donate, please visit colburnplace.org/hope. That's colburnplace.org/hope. Let's help bring joy to those who need it most.
Shopping online might be easy, but it doesn't feel like Christmas. Trade your scrolling for strolling. Bring your family and make it part of your tradition. Sullivan's, where Christmas comes to life.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Patchy morning fog, increasing clouds today, a high of 55. Scattered showers return this evening, and widespread rain moves in overnight, a low down to 48. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
And I'm John Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show, and I am not Kendall or Casey. My name is Craig Collins, filling in. Thrilled to be with you. I asked Matt Bear to hang out for a segment at the start of this thing. I got a bunch of news stuff I plan to get to, hopefully some fun stuff throughout the next 3 hours. But I'd be remiss if I let Matt Bear leave without talking about the Matt and Craig Excellent podcast that is out there. I have a couple complaints, though, Matt, if you don't mind, and I want to put them out on the air.
Oh, I've heard 1,000 already, but go right ahead, yeah. Absolutely.
Have you really?
No.
Okay,
No.
good. The first complaint I have is that Matt and Craig Excellent Podcast is almost at the bottom of the podcast list on WIBC.com. And
I saw that.
Yeah, I know it's probably going to be the award-winning podcast from this station, so I feel like they're doing a disservice to the show by putting it down so low. That's just me.
Yeah, we have to earn our keep here a little bit. You know, we have to earn our way up the podcast list. So, yeah, that's okay. That's expected, but the more we do, the better it gets, I'm pretty sure.
Then I'm going to announce this on the air. We are now in a rivalry fight with both the gun guy and Terry Stacy because they're way higher up on the list than we are. So you and I are now officially feuding with both of them. Oh,
wow. We're going to lose because I love both of those people so much, and I love what they do, especially on the radio.
I know.
Yeah, it's.
I wanted to, jump on their coattails a little bit, try to get attention through the quote unquote feud. I know the gun guy is probably the wrong guy to feud with in general, in a whole lot of ways. And then Terry Stacy's a lovely human. I've interacted with her a few times. Think I've interviewed her. Sometimes, like, lovely person. But we have to feud to get up this list, man. We have to create. This is like a WWE thing. We got to be the heel for a little bit.
I'm just going to show up at each one of them's Thanksgiving Day dinner, and I'll be the guy that causes the family trauma.
Good.
I'll just be like, here, I could really play it off, too, because everybody knows I work on Thanksgiving, so I'll be like, man, I have nowhere to go, and then they'll invite me, and then I'll show up, and I'll be like, politics.
There you go. Perfect.
Whatever the hot button issue is, and I'll just say, what do you think of? And boom.
I think you have to enter both of those parties with like an intro song, like you're in the WWE too, by the way. Like bring a boombox and play some music as you walk through the door.
Yeah, man. Oh, totally. Like something from the Bee Gees,
Fantastic.
One of the brothers Gibb. Yeah.
That was complaint number one. That was the first complaint, is that it's just down too far on the list. The second complaint is that Matt and Craig Excellent Podcast is not getting anywhere near the kind of publicity that I think we needed to get. So this is why I'm interviewing you at the start of the show on Kendall and Casey. I just figured that everybody at your station, this station at WIBC, would be talking about how great this show is. And for some reason, it seems like it's not on everybody's list yet.
Well, again, we're earning our dues, paying our dues here. We have to make our way up the ladder. And I don't know. I guess I could just start jumping into the traffic. I'd be like, westbound 70, Matt and Craig, excellent podcast, into the north split crash, blocking the center lane.
I would love that. But by the way, just for anyone who's listening and has never heard of this before, just an overview of some of the titles to our most recent episode. Hooters for the whole family is episode 5 on this list.
Very helpful.
Clone your dog and get a Brundlefly is number 4 on this list. These are just great things that are going out there. And I don't know. It seems like we need to get a little bit more publicity in order to get this thing off the ground.
Obviously, we just had 2 hard-hitting topics that you mentioned with our podcast. We talk about the important stuff. We're very serious people. And we really get into the down and dirty. We're working on another one. It's almost done, by the way. So that'll be up before the holiday, and everybody will be able to listen to that over their Thanksgiving.
You know what the title of that one is yet, or no?
I have a couple of working one, but one of them I can't say on the air, so I should probably sit on that and just save it for the web.
Yeah, like we said, a family-friendly podcast that everyone can listen to with titles that you can't say on the radio. Before I let you go, because I don't want to let you go quite yet, I know you probably have to leave because you got to come back, right? You got to do something in a few hours.
Evening rush, baby.
Yeah. Okay. You got to work with Hammer and Nigel, those crazy guys who we are not going to feud with them yet. We're not going to feud with Tony, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, none of those people yet. We got to work up to that. And then I think we eventually can feud with some of them.
Yeah, the whole feud thing, it's
not a fan.
Overrated. I don't know. Yeah, well, we'll find out.
I feel like it gets you attention, right? We're not going to say anything mean about these people. I think it's just the WWE feud. And we can be the bad guy. We can be the heel. I'm fine with that. We don't have to be the good guy. But, Terry Stacy, too nice of a person. That's going to be my attack on her. She's too nice. She's too kind. She's too lovely. That's inappropriate. We can't handle that.
Well, she's a mentor. Just a fantastic person. She does this really cool segment on Sullivan's show that happens Saturday mornings from 9 to 1 called Craft Corner.
Gotcha.
And she also has First Day on Sunday. So I really love it. You can't feud with Terry, man.
We're feuding terribly, by the way, for you to say that she's an incredible. What about the gun guy? What do you want to say about him?
He's called the gun guy. I'm not going to feud with him. Good Lord. Have you seen this guy's arms?
Yeah, he's so smart. He knows so many things about guns. He's such an intelligent dude, and he's intimidating as all heck, and we are feuding with him. There we go. That's our feuding.
No good. I get it. Yeah, we'll do some feuding. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, buddy. What's your favorite dessert for Thanksgiving before I let you go, just to switch topics to something else?
Usually it's chicken on the foreman. That's kind of my my main
dessert?
course, and also my dessert for Thanksgiving.
Fair enough, man.
I did have a pumpkin square yesterday, and let me tell you, the pumpkin squares are in season right now. They're so delicious, and there was so much sugar in it. I actually ate another one afterwards, so it was really good. I mean, it was squishy. Pumpkin squares, they have to be squishy. They have to have that right texture, and that's.
Can I admit something on the radio with you? I've never had a pumpkin square.
Oh man, yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's like a sheet cake. It comes out of the oven like a sheet cake, and you kind of just make your marks in it and lift out a square and just eat it. It's sugary pumpkin. That's all it is. It's
it looks a lot like pumpkin pie, just the cake version, which I love pumpkin pie. So I think I love pumpkin cake. It seems fine. All this is great. But anyway, the reason I ask you this is because most people apparently are saying that chocolate pie is now their favorite Thanksgiving dessert. And it's taken over from pumpkin pie and chocolate pie, or whatever you want to call it. There's other names for it. I'm not sure that that's actually a good decision for us as a society, because it's just chocolate in pie form. It seems like a lot of people might be very sad, and the way to cope with the sadness is just to eat straight chocolate instead of even trying to pretend you're eating something remotely healthy with the pumpkin in there.
This is how society progresses, Craig. It's a beautiful thing. Chocolate pie's fine. Everybody wants the pumpkin pie. You have to have at least one at the dinner just so, you can make your grandparents, great-grandparents happy if they happen to be around. God bless them. Yeah, and Craig. But where can you go wrong with the chocolate pie? Chocolate pie, it's a dessert. It's Thanksgiving. It's more eating. It's sugar. You have to have that sugar at the end. So, I'm all for it, man.
Yeah, but you can't even pretend, man. With, pumpkin pie, you can pretend that, or pecan or any of those, you can actually behave as though, there's something in there that's good for me. With the chocolate pie, there's nothing. You got nothing good. Everything is just bad on top of bad.
Well, let me play spoiler. There's nothing good for you in pumpkin pie either. It's all a myth. It's like when you say you're eating French fries out of vegetable oil instead of real oil. They're still French fries, and you're still eating them. Same
I
thing
can't
with
believe
pumpkin
you'd
pie.
say that.
Yeah,
How dare you?
It's sugar. Enjoy it. Love it. Love every bite. Take some home with you. Take some for next Thanksgiving. I don't care, but it's just not healthy. I'm telling you.
All right. Well, the reason that we did that topic at the end there is to demonstrate the value of the Matt and Craig Excellent Podcast, because this is exactly the type of topic we would talk about in great detail on our show that is very important and officially feuding, even though Matt is very reluctant to do this, with both Terry Stacey and the gun guy, two people that I picked at random because they're higher up on the list of podcasts than we are. And both of them are really lovely, intelligent, talented people, which is how we're feuding, apparently, which is just terrible. We got to say something mean. You got at least one mean thing about either of those two before we get out of here.
I can't think of anything. I really, yeah. But let me think of something, and then we'll just put it on the podcast.
Here you go. I'll do one. I'll just put this out there. I bet you Terry Stacey is a better shot than the gun guy.
Ooh, ouch. Oh.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Nobody attack me. No, everybody's going to get mad. I'm going to be hated by the end of the show. I bet you she is. I want to see them go mano-y-mano.
She is from Henry County, and they are good shots in Henry County.
They are good shots in Henry County.
Fantastic.
Right.
So,
yeah. All right. All right, that's it. Matt is so uncomfortable, I'm going to take a break. I have 3 hours to go. Thank you, Matt Bear. The Matt and Craig Excellent Podcast, figured I'd promote it. But I got 2.5 hours or something left to be with you on this show. I promise no more attempted feuding, mostly because I'm about as nice as Matt is, so it's going to be quite difficult. All right, we'll take a break. A lot coming up. Craig Collins filling in on Kendall and Casey on WIBC 93. Thrilled to be with you.
A police chase ended with a 17-year-old boy crashing into a home.
93 WIBC.
Israel's gone on the attack in Lebanon after weekend airstrikes in Gaza that left 20 people dead there.
What happens next?
Indiana high school student who admitted to plotting a Valentine's Day mass shooting will be sentenced today.
Happens here.
The students were among more than 300 abducted from the Catholic school.
There were several shootings across the capital city this weekend, leaving at least 2 people dead.
On air, online, and on Alexa.
Food insecurity is an urgent problem, one that impacts real Hoosiers. You can help today. Gleaners needs donations. Your contribution goes further with Gleaners. For every $10 you give, Gleaners leverages their resources to turn your $10 into $90 worth of groceries for families who desperately need help right now. Your gift benefits local community members, and every dollar counts. Gleaners also needs volunteers now to help with warehouse distribution. Go to gleaners.org and donate or get involved today.
Listen up, football fans. You won't want to miss this.
Right now, new Bet365 customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. So you could turn that $150 into something bigger when you bet on money line, spread, totals, player props.
$150 in bonus bets when new customers bet $5. I know where I'm going to bet from now on. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Indiana. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Stuck in a job that just isn't getting it done? Maybe it's time to go for IT. Whether you're just starting out, switching careers, or a military veteran ready for change, My Computer Career can help you launch a rewarding career in IT in months. No prior experience needed. Why spend years getting a traditional degree when your future in IT can start right now? Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu today. Your most powerful upgrade? Your career. Go for it. Go for IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Hey, Black Friday's come early to Tom Roush Lincoln with our 999 deal. $9,000 off a new Lincoln Corsair, $9,000 off a new Lincoln Nautilus, or $9,000 off a new Lincoln Aviator. Your choice of any of these great luxury cars, $9,000 off. So get those Black Friday deals all month long at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Corsair stock number L25277, MSRP 5220. Nautilus stock number L25270, MSRP 57235. Aviator stock number L25246, MSRP 65165. See dealer for complete offer details.
Are you ready to put joint pain behind you and get to a place where persistent pain doesn't control your life? The dedicated orthopedic experts at Community Health Network are here to turn those goals into a reality. With personalized treatment options that include robotic-assisted surgery, we'll help you feel your best so you can get back to enjoying your hobbies again. Learn more about your care options at ecommunity.com/ortho. Community Health Network. Exceptional care, simply delivered.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country, but Senator Jim Banks is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Senator Jim Banks at 202-224-4814 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
See the diamonds at Pierce Jewelers. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, diamond rings, and diamond bracelets. They shop the world to bring you the best. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
This hour powered by Pierce Jewelers, designers of fine jewelry.
93 WIBC. This is the Kendall and Casey Show. My name is Craig Collins, filling in. Thanks again to Matt Baer for hanging out and chilling with me a little bit. I know I aggressively promote the podcast that both he and I do here, but I just really like it. It's just a whole lot of fun, and we're still kind of just messing around. So if you want to check it out, Matt and Craig, excellent podcast. I promise not to mention it anymore for the next few hours. All right. President Trump is hilarious to me. This happened on Friday, and by the time we got to Monday, I thought I wouldn't talk about this, to be honest with you. I was like, I watched the whole Mamdani press conference. At one point, Trump even said to the press, it's amazing you guys care about this press conference this much, or this individual being in the White House with me as much as you do, because there's way more important people that come through here. And he's right about that, by the way. Foreign leaders that are more significant than Mamdani, but media was obsessed with it. There was a moment, however, and when I watched it live, I just thought it was funny. I thought at the worst, the way that Trump looked in that moment was like a guy that doesn't take some things as seriously as maybe he should, but in a good way. Like, it's not a big deal. I don't care if you've called me a fascist before. That's what happened. But the way media has spun this, which is not surprising, media spins everything that Trump does and says. And to be honest with you, even beyond that, I actually was having a conversation with somebody at a coffee shop in Houston, Texas, and to the table to our left were these two, maybe high school, maybe college age young women. I'm not really sure. Late high school, early college, something like that. And they were also talking about politics, and we were doing it quieter than them. And they brought up Mamdani, and they brought up this whole moment, and they were both laughing about how Trump is admitting he's a fascist, which isn't at all what happened. But I was kind of mystified at the way that not only media has spun this, but the way that a lot of Trump haters or whoever they are out there, voters, young people, what have you, see this utterly differently than I do and utterly differently than I think a lot of people do. But here, I'll play the audio first.
You asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Mm-hmm. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about... That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Okay, I want to stop it right there. That's the entirety of the interaction, and I think it's hilarious. President Trump even taps him on the arm and goes, it's okay, not a big deal. We don't even want to be bogged down by this question right now and you struggling to explain it in front of me. Like, those are all things he could have said. Instead, he goes, let's just skip it, just say yes. And then Mamdani, after he left this meeting, did, in fact, tell people he still sees Trump as a fascist, which is insane. And I think probably disappointed Trump, although, again, I don't know that he cares. And you know what I really thought of when I saw that moment? And I know this is a weird, like, disconnected thing maybe to you to share, but I have a friend of mine who's a radio broadcaster, Radio Hall of Fame broadcaster, actually, who at the point of, like, the height of his career, which I think was in the 80s and 90s, he was interviewing Jerry Seinfeld, who was also rather famous at that time. They did this on the radio, and they thought Jerry was a jerk somehow. I don't remember what it was. But they kind of crapped on him for an entire radio interview. They made fun of this famous person in their studio. They thought, we're a big deal on the radio. He doesn't respect us. And to the credit of the guy I know, he joked about how Jerry just didn't care. Kind of went with it, kind of joked about it, and then left the interview without seeming to be upset at all. And the radio host was so ashamed of himself and his co-host that he went to the guy's show. He went to the comedy show that Jerry was there to promote and apologized to him backstage. And Jerry Seinfeld looked at him and goes, I don't care. You're not going to impact me. My fame isn't going to take a hit because I did this interview with you guys on that radio station. Essentially, Jerry Seinfeld looked at my friend, who's a Hall of Fame broadcaster now with a very big radio show at the time, and he told him, you can't touch me. That's exactly what Trump was doing in that moment to Mamdani. He's like, you can't hurt me. Say whatever you want. Behave however you want. It doesn't matter. I'll be fine. I'll keep running this country just fine. And I kind of love that about Trump, but I was annoyed that there's so many people out there that are pretending that this is a moment where Trump is admitting he's a fascist. Because if you know anything at all about how people behave or how Trump behaves specifically, and you watch this interaction with a level of, just basic open-mindedness, you can't possibly walk away from this thinking Trump intended to make people believe that he's okay being a fascist. He's just not one. And I think a whole lot of the rest of the meeting, a lot of the rest of the conversation between Mamdani and Trump and the press demonstrated how, it was a campaign. You said stuff. I said stuff. I endorsed the guy that was running against you, even though he wasn't exactly a great person to endorse, and not the Republican. And through all of that, you won. So now we're here. We're going to act like it's fine that you won, and we're going to act like we can work together on some things, because hopefully we can. For the sake of the country, the biggest city in our country will hopefully in some way, shape, or form embrace the ways Trump wants to help it, which is, I think, the whole hope. And again, that was the whole point of all of it. So I just found it so fascinating that a few days later, when I thought this story was probably dead, you have more and more people on the left saying that this is a recognition by Trump that he's a fascist, that he's proud to be one, that he admires, fascist dictator people throughout the rest of the world, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just insane, man. And to be honest, actually, one more thing as far as this rant goes. And we'll get back to other news topics after the break. We'll do some sillier stuff throughout. I have a woman who called 911 after a cat was dropped through a windshield of her car, which is crazy. The cat's fine, though, because it's a cat. They have 9 lives. But anyway, the one other thing I was thinking about when I saw all of this, the press conference itself on Friday, the reaction after the fact, this is why people run to the defense of Donald Trump on the right. This is why. Because the left or mainstream media or whatever you want to call it can never treat him like a regular person. They just can't do it. They have to treat him like public enemy number one. They have to act like anything and everything he says is something you can spin to be horrible. And they have to try their best, the Epstein files, whatever, to tell you way before they have proof that he's definitively guilty of something and he needs to be impeached and imprisoned. That's all they do. And then they actually literally go after him in courtrooms when that stuff doesn't work. But it's just crazy. And honestly, hosting a radio show where I do in Texas now, which is my day job, my gig Monday through Friday, not here at WIBC. One of the things I'm most dumbfounded by are people who call in and say how this is obviously the end of Trump, the Epstein stuff, before any proof of that has come out, because of how much they desire it and want it. They just want it to be the end of him, so much so that they don't even really care if any of the actual bad guys get caught. To be honest, I think a whole lot of Democrats will see a Epstein file bombshell getting a lot of people arrested on all kinds of sides of the aisle or wherever that happens, and they'll not see Trump's name along it in that group, and they'll think that that's a failure. They'll be like, we protected kids, we took down a horrible ring of sex abusers, but we didn't get President Trump, so we failed. That seems like that's what it'll be. And a whole bunch of people out there in a bunch of different places will claim and scream the same stuff, which also doesn't make any sense to me. All right. There's one other thing that I do want to talk about today that has nothing to do with Trump or Mamdani. Miss Mexico won Miss Universe, which my wife is very happy about. She's from Mexico, born and raised there, a U.S. citizen now. They're saying the fix was in. They're saying that there's some sort of oil tycoon connected to Miss Mexico out of Mexico that essentially bought the Miss Universe contest. This would never be on my radar of a topic to talk about, except I found this hilarious as an idea today. And this isn't the first time that competition or any beauty pageant has been accused of a fix. One of the judges even walked away from this thing apparently before the actual event itself and said to themselves when they were walking away that, the biggest reason that I'm done with this is because I think that it's already fixed. I think that my judging doesn't matter. And that to me is hilarious. I don't know why, but I just think it is. By the way, Miss Mexico, very attractive. If I were to say that she seemed to deserve a beauty pageant win, or if I were to be asked that question, my answer would be yeah. She's rather attractive. I think that she probably deserves the win here. But that's not what other people are talking about. They're talking about whether or not she stole the beauty pageant win from Miss Thailand, who apparently was the runner-up. And I just find everything about corruption amusing when it's not in politics because of how prevalent it is all these other places and how I guess the stakes are lower. I'm not really sure. But if the Miss Mexico win is actually fraud, I wonder if anybody will attack it and go after it. If President Trump was somehow involved in it, it would be something way more serious than it is right now. But all right, I think it's time to take another break. We have a lot to get to throughout the show today, a lot to discuss. Craig Collins filling in on the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
This year, make Christmas cash with Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling, family-owned in Indy for 3 generations, are names you know and trust. Bring in your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, or brass and turn it into holiday spending money. Whether you're decking the halls, buying gifts, or just want a little extra jingle in your pocket, cash is king at Farnsworth.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A polar vortex set to bring cooler temperatures. Right now, cloudy and 38 degrees on Monument Circle. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 9:31. Those cooler temperatures coming to the central and northern U.S. for the Thanksgiving holiday. That includes northern parts of the Pacific Northwest, Great Plains, parts of Texas, and the interior Mid-Atlantic. As for what's going on in Indiana, Matt Eckhoff with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis explains what's happening starting Tuesday.
Right now, we're currently looking at about maybe a quarter to a half an inch of rain on average, kind of like a fairly light to moderate event.
He says it dries up after that, but temperatures will struggle to get above freezing for most of the week, and most of southern Indiana is under a dense fog advisory until 11 this morning. AAA estimates that nearly 82 million people will be traveling over the holiday, which is up 2% from last year. They also say the Indiana gas average is $2.89 a gallon. The national average is $3.07. And a pair of turkeys are set to be pardoned by President Trump in the Rose Garden tomorrow. The turkeys are named Gobble and Waddle. They're staying at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. at the moment. First Lady Melania Trump also expected to take part in the annual tradition. The birds got their names after Melania asked people to vote on a short list of possible names on the platform X. And your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. So far, the Dow is up 119 points to 46,440. The S&P 500 is up 41 points to 6661. And the NASDAQ has gained 231 points so far at 24,535. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family is banking on bandwidth. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi? It would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
Hi, it's Denny Smith, and when temps are dropping, it means your water heater, softeners, and even those old pipes are under stress. Fall's the time when rain hits, the ground shifts, and tree roots start tearing into those old clay or PVC lines. LD Smith Plumbing can handle it all. Water heaters, softeners, leaks, even gas line inspections before you fire up that furnace or fireplace. And don't forget those hoses, hose bibs, and crawl space vents before the freeze hits. Call my friends at LD Smith Plumbing, the local pros I trust, or just head to ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Honey, look, 4 calling birds.
Do they have cell phones?
Well, yeah. They're called calling birds because they have 4 lines of Cricket 5G.
How do they pay?
Oh, easy. Each line is only $25 a month.
Who are they calling?
Beats me. One sec, gotta take this.
Join Cricket Nation and get 4 lines for $25 per month each. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. New lines only. All lines must be selected. Unlimited plan fees. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. See cricketwireless.com for details.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. Their max strength and vaporize sore throat pain. Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast!
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Picture this. Your career ends, your paycheck stops. Suddenly you're conducting your retirement with no sheet music. Don't let that happen. I'm Jason Hutchins, and after years of guiding Hoosier families through retirement planning, I put together some of the most important lessons into one simple, easy-to-read book, Orchestrate Your Retirement, a guide to composing a financially tuned plan. Get a copy mailed to you at no cost. Call 317-660-929. That's 317-660-929. This book is packed with real-world stories and strategies on income, Social Security, taxes, and how to protect what you've worked so hard to build. Call Guardian Wells Financial at 317-660-929. That's 660-929 and ask for your copy. No pressure, no strings attached. Supplies are limited, so when they're gone, they're gone. Orchestrate your retirement. The rhythm of your future starts here.
Investment advisory services offered through Creative One Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. Guardian Wells Financial is not affiliated with Creative One Wealth or with any government agency. Licensed insurance professionals.
Shopping online might be easy, but it doesn't feel like Christmas. Trade your scrolling for strolling. Bring your family and make it part of your tradition. Sullivan's, where Christmas comes to life.
This is 93 WIBC, the Kendall and Casey Show. My name is Craig Collins, filling in. Thrilled to be with you. A bunch of stuff out there to talk about today. Producer Kevin hanging out with us as well, and you might hear him jumping in from time to time too, as well as everybody else who's a part of the station at this time of day. Our news, everybody. Let's do this. I'd like to talk a little bit about the swatting threats that have been coming in. Wish TV, our television partner, who's awesome, has a story about this up from, I think, just yesterday, in which a 25-year-old state senator, a Democrat, Nick Roberts, has complained that he was swatted, which means when you get police to show up at somebody's home. Not necessarily SWAT anymore. That was what it was in the beginning. The Special Weapons and Tactics Department would actually show up and believe there was a bomb threat or something somewhere. And now it seems that it's more local law enforcement that does this in some sort of way, or just more simplistic version of a police force that'll show up at your house. But Nick Roberts is complaining because he actually went online to condemn this type of behavior that has been happening to other state senators in Indiana and say that you shouldn't do it. And then the byproduct of him complaining was he had it done to him. I absolutely condemn this too. I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican. I don't care what your motivation is for disliking the person who's in a political position of power. The worst way to go about getting that person to listen to you is to do something like this. The best way is to vote them out of office. The best thing you can do is use the abilities you have as a voter to remove these individuals and get individuals that do what you want in those positions of power. I do think there's an interesting spin to this topic, though, like a secondary conversation about redistricting in general in Indiana. Lawmakers have decided they're going to punt and wait until January to have more discussions about this. I currently live in Texas, a place that is in the news. You've probably heard about in the news as far as redistricting goes. In Texas, the politicians, state level, decided to redistrict. The belief was that they created about 6 or so more seats in the House for Republicans, as it is a very Republican state, much like Indiana is. and then it got challenged. It actually even got thrown out by a lower court, because that's always going to happen. The crazy thing to me, quickly about that, is that these lower court judges who are very politically one-sided can just do whatever they want to throw a temporary wrench in any sort of process that's happening above them. They wield so much power in a very short amount of time, because the Supreme Court has already paused that decision. They're going to weigh in, I think, relatively soon on this. Texas is not the only place that has redistricting conversations that have landed with the Supreme Court. I think that Louisiana also has this going on. And so part of what I think Indiana believes is the reason to delay this is you don't want those same fights to happen in courtrooms. That, or you don't even necessarily believe that we should redistrict at all here. I think you should. I absolutely think that everyone should redistrict. And the biggest reason why I think, not everyone, the biggest reason why I think some Republican states should do this is because the Democratic states are doing it so crazy. And I know everybody is gerrymandering. I understand that. But the Democratic states are doing it at such a ridiculous degree that they can't even create the same amount of seats. When they talk about places like Indiana or Texas, they think a fairly significant amount of seats can be created by gerrymandering a little bit more unfairly to Democrats, not to any, race or anything else, just to people that vote the other side. And Democrats can't compete because they've already done the ridiculous maps in California and Illinois and all these places, so they can create a couple seats, they think, a few seats. But Republicans could unilaterally win however many, I don't know, upcoming elections, at least midterm elections and whatnot, by doing this the same way Democrats have been doing it, to the same ridiculous degree. And so why not do that? Why not? And I think some other people, and maybe these conservatives in Indiana would also say this, are not necessarily trusting of the Indiana conservative or the Indiana Republican the way they'd like to be. They're not sure that the party itself, wielding a whole bunch of additional power, is all that good. Maybe it's because you think there's a lot of rhino Republicans that exist, which I understand. Who knows what some of the other reasons might be for that. You'd have to fill in the blank yourself. But I just find that uniquely interesting, that that might be a bigger drawback, is you're handing power to a party in your state, in Indiana, that you don't necessarily trust all that much more. I'm sure you trust them more than Democrats, but all that much more. And the interesting thing to me, too, is that you don't have very many people that run as a conservative and not a Republican in an election that they can win. And you don't have a lot of people running for, office from a outside party of Democrat and Republican that can actually win in a lot of races. So it's sort of picking the devil, I guess, in doing this at all. But I just thought that was uniquely interesting. That right now out there in the world, this conversation about redistricting has gotten to the point where some of these state politicians say they're being swatted, and people are upset about it and trying to get them to push back. And there is an internal fight, even on the conservative side of the aisle, as to whether or not this is a good idea. And I know, I think Kendall and Casey's show itself debates and doesn't necessarily think redistricting is a great idea. And hey, that's the people on this show every day. I'm not saying they're wrong at all. I'm just saying that in my opinion, just me personally, I think that we're fighting fire with fire, and that Democrats have been doing this to a degree that's over and above what Republicans have been doing. And you can see that because of the way that this sort of, 2025, 2026 redistricting, a middle of a 10-year kind of thing move, could actually benefit Republicans to a ridiculous degree. Like, Democrats are terrified of it because we've never done it to the degree that they have, because it would seemingly give Republicans a whole lot of additional wins. And I'll say one last thing about that. I don't mean to rant on this topic, but I will. And then we'll take a break and we'll do some other stuff. I do think that if you go outside of these big cities, Indianapolis certainly among them, and just walk around in any of the smaller communities, the suburbs, maybe a little bit further than some of the suburbs, you find an overwhelming amount of conservatives. You don't find as many people. Yes, you find way less humans than in the big cities, but you find a tremendous amount of people who believe the same thing politically. And so wouldn't it be a better reflection of all of the states within this country to have a disproportionate, voice given to the non-city folk? And I know that seems sacrilegious maybe to say, even in a place like Indianapolis, but it seems like it's valuable. It's the reason we have the Electoral College at the presidential level. So why not do some more gerrymandering to help a whole lot of conservatives win a whole lot more races, because a lot of every city, or every state, outside of major cities is overwhelmingly red. The next time you get mad about redistricting, I would tell you the first thing you should do is look at a map of the United States of America and how the U.S. votes in a presidential election, because you're going to see a sea of red and very strong, very large blue dots. And those blue dots are usually the cities where everybody else seems to think something. So if you were just to look at that, and I know it's not necessarily a perfect, comparison, and say to yourself, man, I wonder what side of the aisle most U.S. citizens vote on, the answer would be easy to tell because of the amount of red that exists on the map. That's the biggest reason. I call it overly simplistic, that I wind up being a fan of redistricting, and because it helps more people win that I think are doing a better thing for this country than the other side of the political aisle. But it is just sort of ridiculous that California will probably move forward and change some things and try to get a few more seats. And Texas is going to be told they're not allowed because some judge somewhere said no. And so maybe Indiana is being smart to avoid that whole fight in the first place. All right, we'll take a break. A lot coming up. We're going to have some fun, I promise. I do have stories that I think are more fun than this stuff. Craig Collins filling in on Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, why did Marjorie Taylor Greene resign and absolutely get rid of that temporary protected status? That is after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
When it comes to your home, it's important to sell it to someone you can trust. Simple Quarters has helped over 3,000 families sell their homes in Indiana.
I'm excited to start the new chapter of my life. I'm going to be moving 2 states away to be with my husband. Ronnie came out to do my walkthrough. It was great. We had a chance to talk about the house. We had a chance to listen to what my goals were, and they helped me to meet them. Then I had the offer, I believe, within 2 hours of them coming through and doing the walkthrough. Simple Quarters never tried to change their offer at any point during the process. Once they gave me that offer, it stood. The offer was absolutely fair. They did explain to me how they came to that price, and it was a fair offer. The best part about this process is I didn't have to make any repairs to the house. Simple Quarters has taken it as is, which is a huge stress relief. It just couldn't have worked out better. It really couldn't have.
Call Simple Quarters 317-900-HOME. 317-900-HOME.
The holidays are right around the corner. Is your home ready for hosting all your guests? My friends at Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling are here to help with any unexpected plumbing or HVAC issues that we know are at the bottom of your holiday prep list. For the month of November, Hope will give you $200 off any $1,000 plus plumbing or HVAC service. Hope is here to help so you can get back to what matters most. Call Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today at 641-HOPE or online at hopeplumbing.com.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Looking for the hottest trends in jewelry this year? Come to Pierce Jewelers and see their Love to Love collection in lab-grown diamond jewelry. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Bad breath is a confidence killer. You can have the best outfit, the sharpest resume, the funniest jokes, but if your breath smells like the food you just ate, that's all people remember. It's not your fault. Bad breath often comes from your gut, and most regular gums and mints just cover it up. That's like spraying perfume on dirty laundry. It doesn't solve the problem. That's where Zellman's Minty Mouth comes in. Zellman's is not just another mint. Zellman's tiny dual-action capsules are coated with powerful, delicious mint and filled with parsley seed oil, clinically tested to fight the toughest offenders. Garlic, onions, coffee, even smoker's breath, all handled. With Zellman's, you get the confidence of fresh, clean breath that lasts for hours, because your breath should be as fresh as your food. Zellman's is only available online, so go to Zellmans.com, that's ZELMINS.com, and use code FRESH for 15% off your first order. That's ZELMINS.com with code FRESH for 15% off your first order today. Backed by a 100% love it or your money back guarantee.
WIBC cares, and if you or someone you care about needs food assistance, we have resources for you, including food distribution locations with an interactive map. Also, learn how you can make a difference for friends and neighbors in need, all at WIBC.com.
93 WIBC. Thrilled to be with you. My name is Craig Collins. This is the Kendall and Casey Show. Long Island, New York, there's a pizzeria out there that has gone viral because they've created an abomination. This is the Thanksgiving pizza, they said. It has all the stuff that you'd think you'd want to have for Thanksgiving on top of a pizza for some reason. It costs $35, by the way. They've sold around 500 of these so far. They're very proud of them. I have some audio of one of the guys in New York explaining this pizza to you. I will say that from a cost standpoint, if I can get like 3 of these and it feeds the whole family, I feel like I'm going to save money over the entire Thanksgiving dinner being prepared and just time, which sounds great. But I'm going to do something horrible because this can't possibly taste good. Here we go.
I'm making Thanksgiving pizza. Turkey gravy, apple sausage stuffing, fresh roasted turkey breast. And
No.
off with a Salpino's famous cranberry sauce made with dry figs, dates, and pears.
I do like that there's Christmas music playing behind it as the guy is describing this in social media. As I said, his name is Joseph. He's at Pino's Pizza. This is in Long Island, New York. And he's very happy about his $35 Thanksgiving pizza that I assume some people are going to buy and surprise the family with. I don't know if they're even open on Thanksgiving. I'm going to assume they are. Although, who knows? Maybe not. Maybe this is a prank you can't even play. You'd have to buy one, let it get cold, and put it in the fridge, and then bring it the next day. But it would be hilarious to walk into the house, I think, holding a Thanksgiving pizza with all the trimmings on it and say, look, this is option 2. If you don't want to actually have the turkey this year, you can have this horrible abomination of a thing. And as I said, they actually went viral. There also is a story about a woman in North Carolina who had the surprise of her life while she was driving. She was explaining to 911 what happened. Apparently someone, an eagle dropped a cat through her windshield. So an eagle swooped down, grabbed a cat off the ground, flew away, and then the cat struggling, as a cat I assume would do. And then this ends with Melissa having a cat dive bomb through her windshield, which is horrible, but also just insane. Here's part of that audio.
Swain County 911. Okay, you may not believe me, but I just had a bald eagle drop a cat through my windshield. It absolutely shattered my windshield.
I do believe you, honestly. Oh, my goodness.
I got to ask you first, because the 911 operator who said that, the way they did, it sounds like they've seen some things. It sounds like they've heard some things. It sounds like this is not the first time you've got a phone call this crazy. Let's do a little more.
Crazier.
Yeah, see?
Well, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Another question, is the cat still alive?
No, it is not, but it's on the side of the road.
Okay, well, I have to ask just to make sure.
Yeah, I gotta check some things. I gotta see some things. Hopefully, something is wrong there because I thought cats had 9 lives. But anyway, the thing I thought was ridiculous about this was the middle part where the woman says that it's terrifying that the 911 operator says they've heard worse, because that is true. I just want you to envision what it would be like driving down the road and then having a cat burst through your windshield, dropped by an eagle that you're seeing fly away. It sounds like an insane thing that we don't experience very much here in this country, but maybe they experience other places. I'm not sure. But just crazy viral story. And I do love the laughing during it. And not because either person thinks that, an animal dying is funny, I imagine, but because what else are you supposed to do? In that moment, when something ridiculous has just happened and you've pulled over and you have no idea how to process it, I think giggling is, option 1 for a lot of us, to pretend as though it's not horrifying and we're not supposed to be crying instead. There's one other crazy story. Call this heavier if you want to, because this is also out there as far as audio goes. I didn't find a lot of audio that I just like to laugh at today. But this is radio host in Washington, D.C., getting a phone call from a guy who said he found a dead body. Now, I have a political spin on this. D.C. has been cleaned up so much and things have gone so well after Trump said he's going to do it, that apparently finding someone deceased in a part of D.C. is newsworthy enough that you call radio first before you call 911. The jocks were shocked that they were calling them and immediately convinced the guy to actually call the police. DC 101, a morning news station or morning radio show out there. But I have some of that audio too, where they had to tell the guy, you should not be calling the radio right now. You should be calling authorities.
I sent Diane a few pictures of me exploring nature, and look what I came upon.
Dude, you found a dead body?
Yes. This may sound sick, but I've always wanted to come upon something like that.
Tell me.
Yeah, it sounds real sick, by the way. This guy sounds real creepy.
You called the police.
Yeah, no, not yet.
Dude, call the cops.
Yeah, are the remains still out on that campsite?
Yeah.
Yes. It's along the highway, thoroughfare or whatever.
Can you please call the police?
Yes, I'm going to do that today.
I'm going to do that today. At some point, that guy is way too casual, way too creepy about it. To be honest, I'm really afraid of him. Everything about the way he sounds terrifies me beyond belief, actually. But yeah, a guy is walking around in D.C., says he always wants to find a dead body, and he finds one. And so he calls his local radio show. And I know the political spin on that might be a bit of a stretch, but I couldn't help thinking about it. D.C. at one point is a place that has so much violence and so much crime and so many bad things happening that I wonder, finding a dead body is still going to be unique, but I wonder if part of the reason you do this is political. Maybe the guy wants attention for this story, and maybe I've just fallen into the trap of giving it attention to push back in the narrative that DC's safer. I don't know. But the guy sounds like the kind of person that might have done some terrible things himself. He does not sound like the kind of guy I would want to meet in Dark Alley or anywhere else in any sort of system whatsoever. He definitely seems like the kind of person you want to stay real far away from. All right, we'll take a break. After the break, we will discuss some other things out there in the world, some things that I find interesting politically, some Democrats who are trying to defend themselves after Trump reacted to them telling a bunch of military men and women to just ignore orders from the commander-in-chief, which is insane. All that and more coming up in a bit. Craig Collins filling in on the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
You know that moment, right before the relatives arrive, when you suddenly see every spot, stain, and pet hair in the house. Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and I'm here to tell you, don't DIY it before Thanksgiving. Leave it to the cleaning heroes at Zero Res. They'll make your carpets, upholstery, and even your air ducts shine without soap, residue, or harsh chemicals. Right now, get 3 rooms cleaned starting at $129 and take $50 off air duct cleaning. That's how you get your home looking and smelling like you meant to plan ahead. With over 5,100 Google reviews and a 4.9 rating, you can trust Zero Res to get it right the first time. So before Aunt Terry starts helping with the vacuum, call the pros. 317-388-5141 or ZeroResIndy.com, because nothing says welcome home like carpets so clean you could eat your pie off of them. But please don't. Zero Res, forward or backward, it spells the same, and it spells clean. 317-388-5141 or ZeroResIndy.com.
Food insecurity is an urgent problem, one that impacts real Hoosiers. You can help today. Gleaners needs donations. Your contribution goes further with Gleaners. For every $10 you give, Gleaners leverages their resources to turn your $10 into $90 worth of groceries for families who desperately need help right now. Your gift benefits local community members, and every dollar counts. Gleaners also needs volunteers now to help with warehouse distribution. Go to gleaners.org and donate or get involved today.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country. But Senator Jim Banks is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Senator Jim Banks at 202-224-4814 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, is it true?
What's that?
Tire Discounters is offering up to $200 off sets of Goodyear tires.
Absolutely.
Plus free alignment and a full synthetic oil change.
You got it.
I'm not one to exaggerate, but that may be the best deal in the history of the world.
But free would be better.
Mike, don't toy with me.
Through the holidays, every day we're open, someone will get their money back on 4 tires.
But I...
Just breathe, Phantom. Breathe.
No purchase necessary. Ends 12/31/25. Visit website for details.
This holiday season, give the gift of Indy's most iconic dining experiences. Now through December 31st, Hughes Culinary is offering a 20% bonus gift card with every gift card purchase of $125 or more. That's 20% more to give or keep for yourself.
And gift cards are available at all Hughes Culinary restaurants: St. Elmo Steakhouse, Harry and Izzy's, the HC Tavern and Kitchen, and 1933 Lounge. You can also order online at HughesCulinary.com. Make the season unforgettable with gift cards from Hughes Culinary.
Christmas cheer is in short supply for our neighbors who are hungry, homeless, hurting. Today you can give them meals, shelter, and care with a gift to Wheeler Mission. You'll also provide addiction recovery, life skills, job training, and other vital care that transforms lives. Your gift is needed right now as hundreds of hurting people are turning to Wheeler Mission for help every day. Share Christmas cheer. Donate now at wheelermission.org. That's wheelermission.org.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Your local news coming up in 2 minutes after Fox News from the Technology Recycler Studios on 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, it's 10 o'clock.
Diplomacy has been reinvigorated. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. And Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky also says that's a good thing. After Secretary of State Marco Rubio left a round of talks in Geneva, pushing a U.S. plan to end Russia's war hopeful.
You have yet to see the actual details of this plan, but there appears to be a shift in tone. President Trump saying on Truth Social, is it really possible that big progress is being made in peace talks between Russia and Ukraine? Don't believe it until you see it, but something good just may be happening.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera at the White House. Rubio says,
I feel very optimistic that we can get something done here because we made a tremendous amount of progress.
Now, we just found out that President Trump held a call today with China's leader Xi Jinping amid ongoing attempts to work out a trade deal after months of negotiations and some very high Trump tariffs imposed on Chinese imports as leverage. Now, the president signed off on a deal for a group of investors to acquire TikTok to keep the social media app operational in the U.S., but a Senate Democrat now wants more information.
Ed Markey in a letter says it's unclear whether the announced agreement satisfies security concerns, and a law passed last year banning the video sharing app unless its Chinese owner, ByteDance, sells. The order says the investment group would license, operate, and retrain TikTok's algorithm, but not own it. Senator Markey wants to know, for example, if that retraining would have to be renewed if ByteDance makes changes.
That's Fox's Chris Foster. Today, the U.S. will designate a Venezuelan cartel led by Nicolas Maduro a foreign terrorist organization as the president considers military strikes in addition to the operation off the coast that's blown up more than 20 boats suspected of illegal drug trafficking.
Should President Trump order strikes against the Maduro regime, there's plenty of firepower in the Caribbean to do it, with about 30% of all deployed American warships, including the aircraft carrier Gerald R. Ford, now on station. There are over 200 Tomahawk cruise missiles in theater aboard destroyers and U.S. Marines aboard the USS Iwo Jima and other amphibs in the Ready Group.
That's Fox's Lucas Tomlinson in Trinidad and Tobago. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Indiana's on again, off again rain. Portions of southern Indiana under a dense fog advisory until 11 this morning. You've got a partly cloudy sky, 39 degrees in downtown Indy. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Rain is supposed to fall in the state again on Tuesday.
It looks like it could be done by mid to late afternoon. It shouldn't be raining around sunset Tuesday, so thankfully this looks like it's just going to be in and out real quick.
Matt Eckhoff with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says that rain's supposed to clear out by Wednesday, but he urges you to bundle up because temperatures are about to drop. A teenage boy arrested in Johnson County this morning. Johnson County Sheriff Dwayne Burgess says the boy caused a police chase by committing multiple traffic violations and ultimately crashing into a garage. He says they also found a gun on him.
That weapon's a pretty good sized caliber bullet. And it's just troubling to have a 17-year-old kid that's got that weapon.
Burgess says the boy was taken to the Johnson County Juvenile Detention Center. From Indiana to Guatemala, a woman shot in Whitestown has been returned to her homeland. Ryan Hedrick reports.
The body of Maria Florinda Rios Perez de Velasquez, a mother of four, is back in Guatemala. On Sunday, relatives met her at the airport before taking her to her hometown of Cabracon, west of the capital. She was shot and killed earlier this month, and prosecutors say the man who shot her Kurt Anderson is facing a charge of voluntary manslaughter. Rios left Guatemala 2 years ago with her 2 daughters. She had hired a smuggler to reach the U.S. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
3 families hit hard by a fire that happened at an apartment complex in Bargersville Saturday afternoon around 4 o'clock. Firefighters say multiple apartments were damaged by smoke and water. No injuries, though, but now they're trying to figure out what caused the fire. Men's college basketball, the Butler Bulldogs took care of business at the Greenbrier tip-off over the weekend. Friday, they beat South Carolina. Then on Sunday, they knocked off Virginia 80-73. Here's Butler guard Evan Haywood, who scored 9 points off the bench on Sunday.
Bizjack into the lane, dropped it into Jones, 6 to shoot. Haywood lets it fly and knocks it down.
With a record of 5-1 now, Butler faces Wright State this Friday. Tonight, Notre Dame has 24th-ranked Kansas in Las Vegas, and the 5-0 Indiana Hoosiers will face the 5-1 Kansas State Wildcats tomorrow night, a game you can hear right here on 93 WIBC. I'm John Herrick on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. 10:04, Craig Collins coming back in 1 minute.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numbness, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Matt Scholke, chiropractic neurologist and board certified in neuropathy. What is neuropathy?
Neuropathy is nerve damage in the feet or hands.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
Absolutely, and we get amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, pain, or balance issues, call Dr. Scholke today for a free nerve damage screening. This screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for their specialized treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Simply call 463-400-3338. Act now. Call 463-400-3338 for your free nerve damage screening. 463-400-3338.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
No way. They never lie to you, Casey. This is the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. My name is Craig Collins, filling in. Thrilled to be with you. Let's play something terrifying in response to, not terrifying like the crazy guy that sounded like a killer that I played audio of in the last hour. This is terrifying in the world of politics and feels like it leans right in to Casey in that promo saying that the government would never lie to you, about as tongue-in-cheek as you possibly can. Eric Swalwell, in an interview on CNN, said he'd love to see vote by phone. Essentially, he wants to turn voting into, how you win the voice or something. He just wants anyone who has a phone to be able to dial up and say, hey, it's me, I promise. Let me go ahead and cast a vote here. I'm going to play this audio. This is unapologetically insane and exactly the kind of thing that's so easy to tee off on as someone who wants to accuse Democrats of trying to cheat in elections. This would be the cheatiest of cheating, and I like the way I just said that. But nonetheless, I think there's got to be a reason he said this. I don't know if he actually believes it's something that would ever happen. But what's scarier to me is that a bunch of the audience on CNN would be thrilled to hear this. The people who want to vote by phone themselves, who probably have no right to vote in this country in the first place. But here we go. Here's some of the audio of Swalwell saying something that's beyond nuts, beyond crazy, and would be horrible, and I don't think will ever actually happen here in this country.
I want us to be able to vote by phone. I think every Californian...
Vote by phone?
Vote by phone. Yeah, if we can...
Hold on. Actually, I'm going to stop it already. When CNN, as someone who's interviewing you on CNN, reacts that way to the thing you said, it's out there. It's as far off to the left as you can get because they want to agree with you. And even they're like, what now?
I want us to be able to vote by phone. I think every Californian...
Vote by phone?
Vote by phone.
By phone?
Yeah, if we can do our taxes, do our, make our healthcare appointments, make... essentially do your banking online, you should be able to vote by phone.
I love the examples he gave. I'm going to interrupt this a lot because none of them make any sense at all. Doing your taxes online is giving money to the government that are maybe trying not to, and them catching you trying not to a little bit too much. But that seems like a very different thing than, say, voting in an election. All the things he mentioned are things that if you are here illegally or you just want to skip it. It doesn't impact the rest of society to do it that way. Doing your own personal banking online isn't something where you have an outstretched impact on what happens in your community because you can force someone into a position of power that they don't deserve. It's also not something that I think the Democrats can swoop their hand into and change. I can't imagine the amount of phone calls that Eric Swalwell would make with fake voices saying he's voting for himself again if he gets vote by phone to work. But let's keep going with this.
Make it safe, make it secure, but it's actually already happening all over the United States. I want us to be a blue state that doesn't do just a little bit better than like Georgia or Alabama when it comes to like voting access. I want us to max out democracy. Also, as it relates to democracy,
that's insane because you're not maxing out democracy. You're maxing out something very, very different than democracy.
If you wait in line for 30 minutes or more, if you do want to vote in person,
how terrible.
I think you should fine every county for every minute that a person has to wait longer. We have to be better, not just a little bit better than the other states. The DMV. I don't think Californians should have to go in person to the DMV anymore. I think we can
Why not? Get your license without even showing up, without even having your face there, and then use that license to be able to vote in an election where you're calling in on the phone. Why not do all that? What could possibly go wrong? How stupid do these individuals actually think people are? Like honestly, because this is an insane thing to say. And you might actually hear some of your friends, some people on the left, walk around being like, yeah, it's all about voter access. You don't have enough of it. They're restricting people from voting. Whenever anybody says that to me, I actually immediately point to Georgia. I don't know what you do, what you say, but Georgia at one point in a midterm election, not all that long ago, was being accused of all kinds of horrific things that were going to silence voters, especially minority voters. Jim Crow 2.0. That's something that Biden and others were saying. And then if you actually look at the turnout in that election, the turnout for minority voters was larger than they'd ever seen in the history of the state. They set a record for the amount of people that voted in the election that, were supposed to be silenced by any of their voting laws. So that is crazy to say this sort of thing and to lean into this to try to convince people that vote by phone. I mean, that's the kind of thing a child says. When you're like, I don't know how to do this better. What should we do? A vote by phone is the usual version of it, where you don't care at all about the complications, the problems, and the likelihood that you'd abuse said problems. All you care about is saying something that you think someone will hear and then not consider at all and be like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. That's a real thing that a Democrat said out there in the world. This is one of the reasons I think we should redistrict to get more of these people out of positions of power. All right, this is also interesting. Elise Slotkin, who is one of several politicians that created a video that encouraged military men and women to disregard the orders of the current president of the United States. This story got almost no coverage last week. I was talking about it right when it started. I don't mean to pat myself on the back. That felt inappropriate. But I didn't hear it a lot of places. Like I would turn on regular news. No one cared. Then Trump said that certain people are doing things that are highly illegal, and saying that essentially the politicians could be punished and that punishment could include death, which is not something Trump wanted to do, by the way. I should take a second to explain my thought on this. Trump is an expert in understanding that the media is going to be overreactive to anything and everything he says, which is easy. Like anybody who's been treated like Trump for as many years as he has been would know. And so even more so, I think Trump is an expert sometimes at being incredibly extreme to get the attention of mainstream media when they're ignoring something. And because of his conversation or his whatever, his, Truth Social posts that he put out in the world, this interview happens on ABC over the weekend, where one of those politicians sat down in front of a news person, Martha McCallum, and she asked the question as to whether or not you think that this is actually wrong, or you think this is the kind of thing that, we shouldn't be doing, et cetera, et cetera. And I just thought it was really interesting, the back and forth for some of these. Actually, Martha, that was different. That's not ABC. But nonetheless, let's play this audio of the back and forth discussion where you're actually presented with the opportunity to explain why you said what you did, to explain why you're encouraging military men and women not to follow the advice of the president, not to follow the orders of the president, and if he's actually said or done anything that constitutes something that the military should ignore, And they say, no, of course not. That's not something that's happened to my knowledge, which is important. I don't know if this will get paid attention to as much as it should, but here we go.
Well, let's talk right now. Do you believe President Trump has issued any illegal orders?
To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal, but certainly there are some legal gymnastics that are going on with these Caribbean strikes and everything related to Venezuela.
Well, let's talk right now.
All right,
Do
hold on.
you
Hold on.
believe?
Actually, we're good. Martha Raddatz, by the way, of course, is the name of the individual who's actually speaking there. But Martha Raddatz says, is there anything he's done that actually is wrong? And the real answer from the politician who already put the video up telling everyone to not listen to the commander-in-chief, leaning on her own experience in law enforcement and or the military, which the people, the Democratic politicians who actually served this country in our military and then put that video out should be uniquely ashamed of themselves for being willing to politicize something to that degree. But anyway, the answer is nothing has happened to my knowledge that should be disregarded. But they're tapping close to it. They're in the neighborhood of something they shouldn't be doing. And for that reason, we actually put a video out that encourages everyone to ignore Trump at all costs, to usurp his power, to do whatever they can. This, coupled with the guy who's saying they should have vote by phone, makes you realize everything you need to know about why Democrats are horrible for this country. Honestly, there's times where I want to be more of a I can hear it from both sides kind of person. Not that I'll agree with the other side, but I'll at least try to pretend as though I can have the conversation. But it's stuff like this and the refusal to acknowledge anything in that ballpark of we just said and did something crazy. Because the excuse is always Trump's bad. Orange man, horrible. Have to do everything we can to harm him. So we're going to put this video out that we know is inappropriate and we know has no reason to be followed by anyone in the military by our own words. We actually admit that he's done nothing that deserves this level of getting, banned or ignored down the line. It's insane. All right, we're going to take a break. After the break, I do have some audio of Scott Bessent that I like a lot, the Treasury Secretary. He asked Kristen Welker on NBC if she understands how much a certain part of her body weighs, her arm. And it was a really great way to demonstrate a different point. So that's the tease. I'll play that audio and more coming up in a bit. This is Craig Collins filling in 93 WIBC, the Kendall and Casey Show.
Holy cow! Another beautiful play for Indiana. A new coach, a new team, a new energy in Bloomington.
You're going to see a bunch of guys that are all about winning. They play incredibly hard.
Coach Darren DeVries is ready to write the next chapter in Hoosier basketball.
We love what I think the fans are going to be able to see in terms of how we approach every game.
IU basketball is back. Up next, Kansas State. Tuesday at 8 on the home of the Hoosiers, 93 WIBC.
The biggest Black Friday sale ever is going on now at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Save up to $800 on top brand mattresses from Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and Sealy. Indiana-made Smith Brothers of Bern is holding their factory-authorized sale with the lowest price in 2025 and 50% off all Flex Deal and Lazy Boy. Free delivery, cash discounts, interest-free financing. Hurry, sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Food insecurity is an urgent problem, one that impacts real Hoosiers. You can help today. Gleaners needs donations. Your contribution goes further with Gleaners. For every $10 you give, Gleaners leverages their resources to turn your $10 into $90 worth of groceries for families who desperately need help right now. Your gift benefits local community members, and every dollar counts. Gleaners also needs volunteers now to help with warehouse distribution. Go to gleaners.org and donate or get involved today.
There's one name for every home system, Chapman. Heating, air conditioning, plumbing, drains, electrical, and now proudly serving Bloomington. Remember the man for all seasons, and now more reasons. Chapman, chapmanheating.com.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Do you remember what was happening in America? Families struggling, billions in wasteful spending. But Senator Todd Young fought back. He voted for working family tax cuts, and Senator Young voted to crack down on waste, fraud, and abuse, saving taxpayers billions. So call Senator Todd Young at 202-224-5623 and thank him for supporting the Working Families Tax Cut. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
Shopping online might be easy, but it doesn't feel like Christmas. Trade your scrolling for strolling. Bring your family and make it part of your tradition. Sullivan's, where Christmas comes to life.
This hour powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's full-service jewelry store.
93 WIBC. My name is Craig Collins filling in. Thrilled to be with you. Lots of stuff out there to talk about. Kendall and Casey off this week. They'll be back after the holidays. So thrilled to be in for them. The FAA is saying that Thanksgiving travel will be the busiest it's been in 15 years. 360,000 flights. Thank God that the government shutdown isn't still going on. I thought of that the entire time. By the way, I feel like I keep patting myself on the back during this show. I'm not trying to brag. I bet you a lot of you did this too. So I don't think I'm alone. But the whole time the government shut down and the airline industry started to become more and more the dominant story, in the back of a lot of our minds, we were thinking, Thanksgiving is coming. A whole lot of people travel for the holidays. You can't possibly allow it to stay bad through that, because that is absolutely a torpedo to the likelihood of any Democrat getting reelected in anything if craziness ensues during that time period. But I think a little bit of what they were doing was testing to see if Republicans were receiving an outstretched amount of blame for the shutdown, not from the crazy left radicals, but like everybody in the middle, I guess, however many people that even is. And no, by and large, it seemed people did understand that Republicans kept trying to pass a bill that would open the government, and Democrats kept saying no to it. And so for that reason alone, I think they didn't wait all the way till Thanksgiving. I think Democrats would have willingly kept the government shut down if Republicans would have gotten the blame for the most horrific travel holiday we've ever seen, worse than anything we saw during COVID or anything else, because of the amount of airports that would have like no staff, no TSA staff, etc. But thank God that didn't happen. So crazy travel day. It will be coming up later this week, or several travel days. A couple other things out there that I thought were interesting that are not necessarily serious topics. I saw this story and I really couldn't believe that it's real. And so you tell me if you think that this is accurate. But according to, I think, the New York Post and other people who claim that they're talking to experts, and you know what most of us should actually think about anyone claiming to be an expert in anything. But anyway, Frontiers in Zoology is the journal that published this story. They have an amazing swimsuit issue, by the way. Frontiers, no, I'm totally kidding. That sounds horrible. But anyway, they put out something saying that raccoons are the latest pet craze. One, because raccoons are evolving to be cuter looking, which is odd. I don't think that's necessarily true. And two, people seem more and more to desire having raccoons in their home. You know who I think actually believes this is a good idea? Anyone who has not found a raccoon in their trash can or on their roof or in any scenario near them for any amount of time, because you will have a very long, very unfun fight with an animal that you don't want to be in a fight with if you try to get one out of your trash can. If that's the thing you got to do, I wouldn't want that as a pet. I wouldn't want that inside my home. My favorite part of the whole story, which, as I said, you can find on the New York Post and other places, is at no point does it say raccoons are behaving better than they were before, which would be like point one. If I had kids come to me and say, I want a raccoon for a pet dad, and I looked at them like, that's not going to happen. The biggest example would be like, go outside and try to catch one. I wouldn't actually tell them to do that, but something like that, because it's going to be horrible. The behavior is going to be insane. I just love that this is a thing that's out there, though, because I do think you'd get a ton of social media videos of people very happy the day their raccoon pet came home, and then very sad within an hour and a half of that occurring because of everything that's gone to crap in their house because of it. But I just find that to be funny. Like, what's wrong with a dog, man? What's wrong with the tried and true pet? And dogs are better than cats. I'm putting it out there. I think I often say that on the radio, and the cat people get mad, and they send me the letters. But they know exactly what I know, that a cat barely wants to live with you. It seems like the most begrudging pet you could ever have. A dog is so happy that they're in your house and that you're home, and anytime you leave, they're incredibly sad. Why not want a pet like that? All right. Another thing out there I saw that I thought was pretty funny. Apparently, most parents argue more about their kids driving, both with their teenage children and with each other, than they talk about anything else. This is the most significant fight you might have with your kid as they grow up. 51% of people say they argue with their teen about driving habits for the teen. Screen time, less than that. Grades, life plan, dating lives, less than that. I think I know the reason why for this, and it's kind of unique. I'm a millennial, so I say my generation now, and I actually can say that. Anyone out there who shakes their head like, oh, please, there is a younger one than me now out there, and I'm an older millennial. I turned 40 a couple weeks ago. But anyway, anyone from my generation onward, anyone behind me, Gen X, baby boomer, whatever, I think everybody remembers getting close to getting your car and how much you wanted it. Like you were desperate to have a license, a vast majority of us, because it meant a version of freedom that you didn't have until you had it. But now I know a whole lot of people whose teenage kids have no interest in a driver's license. They're like, I can Uber to get around if I want to leave the house or some version of ride sharing. And then they also just don't care about getting it. So I think it's that laissez-faire attitude for some to like the responsibility of driving or even the desire of it that might make you more worried with them behind the wheel of the car. I don't know. But it seems that parents, I don't know that this has always been true, are arguing more with their teens than anything else about driving. And I think some parents are mystified that their teens don't want to drive more. And I know some kids do, but as I said, there's more and more people out there that I know personally who's like, teenage son or daughter is holed up in their room on social media or on a video game of some kind and has no interest in going anywhere, which is crazy. Because, again, freedom for me meant getting as far away from my parents as possible for as long as I could. At 18, you want to get out of the house. At 16, you want to be able to drive and pick up your friends. This is all stuff that I see less and less of now. One last one that I thought was interesting out there as far as quicker, sillier topics. I saw a couple Dear Abby letters that I liked. And if you're younger, you might not know what Dear Abby is, but it's an advice column. It's much like Am I the Jerk on Reddit. It's a different word than jerk, but I like that page too, where people write and tell a story, and then they ask who's the jerk, me or the other person. There were two Dear Abbies that I thought were really interesting that people wrote in. The first one said, should I apologize for yelling at my daughter's loser boyfriend? I thought this was really funny. A woman, a mom, wrote in and said that she yelled at Harry, which I think is the fake name for the boyfriend, because she just thinks he's everything that a loser is. He's not motivated to do much. He doesn't seem to be helping her daughter in any ways. He plays video games. He goes over his girlfriend's house and plays video games at their house on their, TV while the girlfriend is like making him food and stuff. I can't even think about doing that if I were, dating still. I'm a happily married man, but like talk about actually behaving like a loser. And I'm not saying video games are inherently bad. I play them, but I don't know why you'd go to someone else's home and show off to the mom and dad that, you don't have much going on in your life. You're just sitting there playing video games all day. You got to pretend, man. Dating somebody and showing up at their house in front of their parents is putting on the best face you possibly can. Is pretending that you're someone who's, doing everything right. It doesn't have to be true. This is the early version of a job interview where you just put on the best face you can. You make all the right jokes. You agree with everything they say. This is the way to get parents to like you, not going over and playing video games at their house. I love this story. And as far as my answer to the question, should the person who yelled at this guy feel bad about it or apologize for it? No, I don't think so. Give your real opinion. Your kid might still do whatever they want. They might date this guy in spite of you, and that is not the outcome I think you desire. But if a person was coming over my home, dating my kid, and then playing video games in my house, well, even my own child seems like they want to go do something else, I would have some words too. I think you should say some things as well. I think so many people are conflict averse in our society now, especially young people, that any version of conflict is thought of as bad. And I don't necessarily think that's true. I mean, I guess it depends on scale here. Like if you screamed and yelled and threw stuff at this person, there's a version where maybe you got too angry. Maybe you went too far. Maybe it went too much the other road. But I think maybe there's some version of, come on, man. Actually, you know what? I remember this is kind of funny. It's not a dating situation. This was just a buddy of mine in college. He invited me over his house for Thanksgiving because I was living pretty far away from home. And so I think it was like a 2-day thing. You go over, you spend a couple days in the suburbs, you go back to the dorm with your friend. And I remember like wanting to go outside and play football and all that crap with my buddy. And the parents were so thrilled. Like, man, look at these two young men, these 18, 19-year-old kids that aren't sitting around a computer or their, video game system, just wasting their time while they're in our home. We didn't even do that performatively. We were just dudes that like to go do things like in the real world. And I don't know how that's missing now for more people in society. You'll have a better feeling yourself, your body, like a better, I don't know if I want to call it a buzz or something, by just going out and being a human in public and not necessarily being someone sitting in front of a screen for 10 hours a day, every single day, all the time. And so I remember that the parents were so thrilled that me and my friend were buddies because both of us seemed like we wanted to be outside more than inside. And that was in college, man. It's crazy to think about how that system is so different than what we have now. And this was 20 years ago, too. All right, quick break. A lot coming up. This is Craig Collins filling in 93 WIBC, the Kendall and Casey Show.
It started off as a drip, so Washington ignored the problem for decades. Then suddenly the pipe burst, and illegal immigrants poured into our country across our southern border. But no more. Thanks to President Donald Trump and Congressman Jim Baird, the pipe has been fixed for good. In Congress, Baird worked to pass legislation that, according to the House Homeland Security Committee Majority Office, provides funding for the removal of millions of criminal illegal aliens across the country, allows for the completion of President Trump's border wall, authorizes the hiring of thousands of new ICE personnel, Customs and Border Protection officers, and Border Patrol agents, and stops the flow of deadly fentanyl into Indiana. To learn more about how President Trump and Congressman Jim Baird are solving America's immigration crisis and keeping our communities safe, call Congressman Baird's office at 317-563-5567 or visit baird.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with a free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country, but Senator Jim Banks is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Senator Jim Banks at 202-224-4814 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
See the diamonds at Pierce Jewelers. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, diamond rings, and diamond bracelets. They shop the world to bring you the best. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
U.S. leaders meeting Ukrainian envoys. Partly cloudy and now 42 on Monument Circle. 52 is your high today. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:33. That's happening in Geneva, Switzerland today. They're discussing a proposed deal aimed at ending the war between Ukraine and Russia. New York Republican Congressman Mike Lawler sits on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and he spoke to Fox Business this morning.
I do believe we have made significant progress over the last week. Which certainly puts this on the precipice of coming to an end.
Critics of President Trump's proposal, though, say it requires almost zero concessions from Russia, the country that started the invasion in the first place. The United States Postal Service announcing plans to raise its shipping prices in the new year. The adjustments have been approved by the Board of Governors and will take effect on January 18th. USPS says that shipping service prices are set by market conditions, unlike mailing service prices, which are determined by the Consumer Price Index. And an elephant at Smithsonian's National Zoo in Washington, D.C. is pregnant, making this the first time a baby elephant will be born at that zoo in 25 years. The zoo says the 12-year-old elephant is expected to deliver her baby sometime this winter. I'm John Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Black Friday deals are happening all month long at Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield. You can lease a new Ford Escape or a Bronco Sport for just $339 a month. Plus, you could save over $13,000 on a new Ford F-150. You always get more with Andy Moore's Get More Guarantee. More savings, more selection, and more for your trade. Buy your vehicle 100% online. It is so easy to do at AndyMooreFord.com, and Andy Moore will deliver it right to your door. Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield is the place for your car, truck, and SUV. And if you've got a business, Andy Moore Ford is the place for your commercial vehicle. Not only to get your new medium to heavy-duty F-Series trucks, but their service bays can handle vehicles up to 35,000 pounds. Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield for all the Black Friday deals. Check them out, 2713 East Main Street in Plainfield, or online at Andy Moore Ford. That's Andy Moore, M-O-H-R. I love Andy. AndyMooreFord.com.
93 WIBC. My name is Craig Collins, filling in. Thrilled to be with you. This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. If you have no idea who I am, I have filled in for Tony Katz now for quite a few years as a fill-in host for Tony Katz in the Morning News, and I'm thrilled to be asked to do this gig. I love when you do a two-person show as one guy, by the way, because I just picture either Rob or Casey reacting to some of the things I'm saying, and I kind of wish they were here to have that back and forth. But we'll do this without them, of course, because they deserve a vacation. I thought this was interesting as far as stuff that's just out there in the news. Well, actually, all right, you know what? Let me hold that, because this is a Democrat running for office somewhere not in Indiana. You may not care, but I just think that the things she's saying are insane, including that she hates Nashville, Tennessee, which is where she wants to be a political representative. But before I get there, I mentioned this earlier. This is Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, having a conversation on NBC News about prices of certain things. Have prices of all the things that we buy on a daily basis gone down? No. Can you cherry pick items out there that are uniquely more expensive than they were some amount of time ago? Yeah, you can do that. But does this administration seem to have a greater goal in place? Mostly through cutting the cost of energy, which is something that Biden was very much in a fight against. There's a war against oil and gas when he was in office, and energy costs make a lot of things more expensive. Anyway, more so than tariffs, apparently. But anyway, as this is going on, as this debate is back and forth, Welker thinks she's got Bessent in trying to demonstrate that some items are uniquely more expensive now than they were when Trump took office. And the Treasury Secretary had an amazing response to her position on this topic. Let's go ahead and play that audio, because I just thought it was really well done as far as arguing back. Are you actually being fair right now in the point you're trying to make?
Well, and banana prices are up almost 7%. Coffee prices up nearly 19%. Isn't the fact that you're rolling back tariffs an admission that ultimately they do drive up prices for consumers?
Kristen, how much does your arm weigh?
That I do not know.
Exactly. But you know how much you weigh. You get on the scale every morning.
Amazing.
Inflation is a composite number, and we look at everything. So we are trying.
I'm sorry, that's already wonderful as far as a pushback. How much does this unique part of your body that you can't put on the scale by itself weigh? And if the answer is, I don't know, which obviously it is, then maybe you're not looking at the totality of items and how much they cost across the board to try to tell your viewers that things are more expensive right now.
We try to push down the things we can control. And as I said, that we are working on the energy prices are down, and everything flows from that. And I think we're going to see these other prices come down. And again, many of these goods were part of trade deals with countries that have been in the works for months.
Sure, very quickly, come down in a matter of weeks, months?
Sorry?
Weeks or months? You said the prices will come down in weeks or months?
Some are going to come down in weeks, some are going to come down in months. We just had in terms of affordability, we just had the best month in the housing market due to affordability, due to increased supply in October, best October in 3 years, best month since February.
That's weird. Look at that happening. Look at some good things happening. Now, look, I will admit that I think anyone who voted for President Trump to make the economy better and get all the pricing to go down might have unfairly expected that to happen right away, which it can't. If you inherit something that's terrible, you have to do your best to make it better, and that takes time. Anyone should know that. Anyone should be able to handle that. At the same token, inflation going up at a smaller percentage, but still going up, more expected, 1-2%, something like that, compared to the ridiculous amount it was going up when Biden first got into office and had a bunch of executive orders that all harmed the oil and gas industry, that all made energy costs more expensive. All of that shows you how quickly something can go bad and it can go well. And I do also think it's interesting that Bessent is out there saying that he projects prices to go down, unlike when Biden and his administration was in office and Janet Yellen was out there telling people that all of these spikes in pricing are transitory. They're going to go up real crazy and then they'll go right back down, we promise. And transitory never happened. They all knew it wasn't going to happen as they were saying it, which made it even worse. But this is a version of, we do see energy costs going down a lot. The price of gas is going down, maybe not as much as it should. And I think Trump recently said something about that. He said that maybe the price should be going down more. Maybe there's a way the government should get involved to try to push these energy companies that are actually selling gasoline to the American people to better reflect the price of oil at an international stage. And I love also, I'll say this last thing and then I'll move on. I love when people say that the president can impact the cost of gas. Like, yeah, I can't do that. That's an old Democratic thing that's been around for a long time. And then you see a politician get into office who wants to go to war with oil and gas and how quickly those costs can skyrocket and be horrible. And then you see a president come after him, whether you're willing to admit this because he's Trump and some people have the derangement syndrome thing, and not have a war against oil and gas, very much be a friend of oil and gas and have prices drop immediately and go very much the other way. That seems to be a pretty significant impact on the price of oil from the White House itself, even though they say that that can't happen. All right, let's do this. This is the Democratic politician running for a state office in Nashville, Tennessee. She's running for Tennessee's 7th Congressional District. She's insane. Her name is Afton Ben. I don't even know if I'm saying it right because it's spelled so dumb. AFTYNBEHN is her name. But anyway, she went viral earlier last week for saying that she hates the place she's running to represent. I'm going to play that audio for anyone that doesn't know this. Let's contextualize this, because she then was asked a question about that, and I think that went fairly poorly on national news over the weekend. But here she is saying how much she hates Nashville, which seems to be the kind of thing that would make you lose an election, not represent the people who live there.
I've been heavily involved with the Nashville mayoral race because I hate the city, I hate the bachelorettes, I hate the pedal taverns, I hate country music, I hate all of the things that make Nashville apparently an it city to the rest of the country.
All right, I'll stop it right there. This is the exact same sentiment that a lot of young Democrats have about the United States itself. They might not hate on as micro of a scale as this person seems to hate the place that she lives within the United States, but they hate a whole lot of things about the U.S. and they disregard anything that might be good that they benefit from by living here. Like the fact that she can say that on a podcast somewhere and she's not going to get scooped up and imprisoned for being so anti, society the way they would in those horrible places that some democratic socialists want this country to become. But nonetheless, I just think it's sort of crazy that she was proud to say that in a podcast and then still wants to keep trying to be a political representative for a place that she obviously hates. She doesn't just hate the political decisions of Nashville. She hates the people. She hates the culture. She hates everything about it. Hates country music. And that feels like the kind of thing you can't say in some places and still get elected. But here she is on MS Now, which is still the dumbest change in a name. MSDNC or MSNBC was not good, but it definitely is better than MS Now. And I don't know why they made this change. But anyway, that television station interviewed this lady, had a conversation with her in which they brought up some of the other controversial things she said, like defunding the police is something that's smart. And the amount of Democrats who said that at one point, who now struggle to deal with the fallout of how bad of an idea that was, is sort of amazing. So here she is swinging and missing in a conversation about why she thought defunding the police was a good idea and doesn't want to talk about it as much now.
Representative, in 2020, you made some tweets that have since been deleted that were very critical of police. You said in those since deleted tweets that the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department should be dissolved. Another cheered on a teachers union saying that defund the police should be a requirement for schools reopening. And another saying good morning, especially to the 54% of Americans that believe burning down a police station is justified. 2020 was on.
Yeah, I got to be honest. This person should be immediately out of this political running. Like, these are horrible things to say. And I love the fact, I don't love anything she's saying. I love the fact, and I know you can't see it because it's radio, that she makes that confused face when this first comes up on MS Now or MSNBC, DNC, whatever I still want to call it, because she seems shocked that they're going to challenge her. Like, I thought this was friendly. I thought you guys were going to steer away from this topic of all the radical, insane stuff that I and people like Mandami are saying every day when we expect to get elected places, because us in positions of power seems dangerous to society. Here
obviously a very fraught year. Do you still stand by those comments? And if not, is there anything you want to clarify?
I'm not going to engage in cable news talking points, but what I will say is that our communities need solutions. We need local people decide.
I'm already going to stop it. I hate everything about. I'm not going to engage in, local talking, or excuse me, political talk show talking points, a national news, whatever she said that is. That's an insane way to go about trying to disregard the question. I'm not going to talk about the things that I tweeted that you're asking me about that I said, that now are political talking points to you because I said them.
I'm not going to engage in cable news talking points, but what I will say is that
drunk answer.
Our communities need solutions. We need local people deciding, solving local problems with local solutions, and that's not the overreach of a federal government or state government of which we are dealing with in Nashville.
Yeah, no one asked you that, by the way. This is the other thing that makes me so angry about politics and politicians in general, is the current talking point is the only thing that you're capable of saying in reaction to a topic in the wheelhouse of that talking point. And that's not even really in its wheelhouse. But you ask a question about policing in general to a politician on the left, and they're going to lean into the world of President Trump is overstepping with the federal way in which he's trying to interject certain people into local law enforcement, which is not what I think he's doing, by the way. And sometimes if he is actually doing something closer to that, it's because those places seem to desperately need that help. And it seems to turn out good when crime goes away. It's weird that Democrats are like the crime party right now. They want to defend the criminals. But I digress. I'll move on from that. The other thing that I think is so crazy about this and the way that she's trying to answer it is like how gotcha this is. Like they've caught her red-handed. They're reading her own things 10 she didn't still believe. And this politician is now doing the same thing as a 2010 she didn't still believe. And this politician is now doing the same thing as a 20-something vocal person on social media who's definitely too insane to be a or talk about it. So she's not going to discuss the exist on a cable news station. She's going to answer the specific question about her own words with talking points of her own, darn it. All right, quick break. A lot coming up. Craig Collins filling in on the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Hey, what's up? It's Hammer and Nigel. We are out all this week. We are going to eat so much, we start looking like Chris Christie. Enjoy our amazing lineup of fill-in hosts that start at 3 o'clock today.
giant list of reasons why I trust Window Nation. They did such an awesome job replacing the windows in the front of my house. My old, drafty, cracked windows. Came in within a day, put in some new windows, left my house cleaner than before the install. Recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies. So you know you can trust Window Nation for high quality, affordable windows.
They have an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. They have got over 45,000 five-star reviews, and they've came out to my house. I trust Window Nation. You can trust Window Nation. They are the best in the business, but you need to hurry. The sale ends soon. 50% off all window styles and 0 interest financing for 5 years. Schedule a fast and free estimate right now at windownation.com. windownation.com.
If you or someone you know needs help putting food on the table, that help is closer than you think. WIBC Cares. We've partnered with local food banks and organizations to provide resources for those who need them. Just go to WIBC.com and look for the banner that says Find Free Food Near You. You'll find a link to Community Compass, an up-to-date interactive map that shows locations, days, and times for you to collect food at no cost, as well as other resources to help you through this challenging time. Find community help now at WIBC.com.
Hi, it's Denny Smith, and when temps are dropping, it means your water heaters, softeners, and even those old pipes are under stress. Fall's the time when rain hits, the ground shifts, and tree roots start tearing into those old clay or PVC lines. LD Smith Plumbing can handle it all. Water heaters, softeners, leaks, even gas line inspections before you fire up that furnace or fireplace. And don't forget those hoses, hose bibs, and crawl space vents before the freeze hits. Call my friends at LD Smith Plumbing, the local pros I trust, or just head to ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Stuck in a job that just isn't getting it done? Maybe it's time to go for IT. Whether you're just starting out, switching careers, or a military veteran ready for change, My Computer Career can help you launch a rewarding career in IT in months. No prior experience needed. Why spend years getting a traditional degree when your future in IT can start right now? Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu today. Your most powerful upgrade? Your career. Go for it. Go for IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country, but Senator Jim Banks is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Senator Jim Banks at 202-224-4814 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service? Need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling? We'll find that independent American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Join us for Downtown Indy Alliance's 63rd Annual Circle of Lights, presented by IBEW Local 481, Friday, November 28th, with live entertainment featuring acts from ISO's Yuletide Celebration, the Indianapolis Children's Choir, and Clayton Anderson. Go to downtownindy.org/holidays.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. My name is Craig Collins, filling in. Thrilled to be with you. I understand this is radio. I understand you can't see the stuff that I'm looking at, and that this topic is uniquely probably bad to do. I'm prefacing it the worst way I can. This is probably not a radio-friendly topic, and yet I can't help wanting to talk about this. So there's a boy band that went viral on Twitter, not because you've heard of them. Their name is Boy Throb, by the way, which is creepy and weird. I'm already not a fan of that. But the other reason it went viral, it's 3 American kids. I think they're probably in their 20s. And then one dude in India. His name is Darshan. Darshan is not in the United States. He is in India, where he lives. He'd like to come to the U.S., and the other 3 members of the band, the guys who live here in the United States, are trying to help him. The way they're doing that is by performing. I guess they went to a nursing home somewhere in this country, and they performed their thing. By the way, the boy band doesn't actually sing. They just dance. They're a dance group only version of a boy band. It gets worse and worse as I talk about this story. But here's why I thought this was so stupid and funny and also probably creepy in a lot of other ways. They put the one guy who's in India on a laptop screen on the stage, and he dances with the other guys as the three dudes are dancing in front of these senior citizens in the nursing home. Who, by the way, like, if a nursing home is this hard up for entertainment, just put on a movie. You don't need to invite Boy Throb in, do their weird dance routine with the dude in India. You can probably just watch a movie they've seen 100 times, and the people in the nursing home are going to be happier about it. But anyway, there's a real thing. You can Google it. You can look it up on social media. Twitter or X is probably the best way to go find it. It's just so stupid. And my favorite part about the video is you can only see like the top half of the one dude, and you can barely see it from what they put up there. So I don't even know if he's good at dancing. And I don't want to know. I don't care to know. But I just think that's uniquely funny to be the member of the dance group who only gets to show you his arms and his face. Well, because I could do that sitting down, man. I could pretend I'm doing the moves with them in this chair I'm sitting in right now and get a half-hearted version of being part of this dance group boy band that's trying to bring over a dude living in India by performing with him on a video screen. I don't know if they're trying to go for some sort of, like, oh, we feel bad for the one dude who doesn't live here sort of thing, some pulling at the heartstrings. This would not pull at my heartstrings. I would be very confused. I would probably demand they fire the person in charge of my nursing home's entertainment. If this group came in, and you can see like 8 or 10 people sitting in chairs in the nursing home because they have nowhere else to go. They're trapped. But I would immediately complain. I'd be like, I'm either leaving here, I'm going anywhere else in the world, or you are firing the person that's in charge of entertainment because this is ridiculous. And again, I wish I could show you. I know that it's just radio, so I have to talk about it. And I would play the audio, but they don't sing. They just dance. So nothing about it's going to be good. I just found it hilarious that it exists. All right. On that ridiculous note of a thing that I'm just encouraging you to go out there and check that's in the world, and not to support that boy band, but to know how weird things are in society and how maybe things are better for you than they are for the people in that nursing home. That is something I recommend you look up. Boy Throb, a group that hopefully does not succeed. I'm just saying that honestly. All right, quick break, a lot more. Craig Collins filling in, 93 WIBC.
Don Fisher for QC Kinetics. I was struggling with chronic knee pain and wasn't encouraged with the options of risky surgery and pain pills. QC Kinetics offered the best option for me, cutting-edge regenerative medicine. Their non-invasive treatment stimulated my body's own biologics so I could be pain-free and get back to doing what I love, playing golf. QC Kinetics has a fantastic success rate, and it's clear to see why so many Hoosiers are happy to tell their story of how they reclaim their lives with the QC Kinetics approach. Ready to live your life pain-free? Go to qckinetics.com/Indianapolis or call 317-559-PAIN and get a no-obligation consultation. QC Kinetics uses the latest technologies, whether it's stem cell, PRP, plasma, or a number of other advanced therapies. Call QC Kinetics. It'll be the best call you will make. Get back in the game, whatever that is for you. Call 317-559-PAIN.
It's the season of giving, and my friends at Hope Plumbing, Heating and Cooling invite you to join them in a wonderful cause. During the month of November, Hope is raising money for the Colburn Place and will match donations up to $10,000. Colburn Place is where survivors find safety, support, and hope for a new beginning, and Hope Plumbing, Heating and Cooling is proud to support such a fantastic local organization. To donate, please visit colburnplace.org/hope. That's colburnplace.org/hope. Let's help bring joy to those who need it most.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun, brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Join us every Friday right around 5:50 for Beer Sample Friday.
Brought to you by Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, home of free delivery within 75 miles of their store.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Kohl's Black Friday deals are here. Grab your coffee and put on your sneakers because it's go time. Through Saturday, save up to 50% on everything from toys to beauty faves, winter styles, and more. Plus, earn $15 Kohl's Cash for every $50 spent. Yep, that's extra Kohl's Cash. So run, don't walk. Just hold on tight to that coffee. Select styles, some exclusions apply. Coupons and Kohl's Cash do not apply to Sephora. Offers end November 29th. See store or kohls.com for details.
Looking for the hottest trends in jewelry this year? Come to Pierce Jewelers and see their Love to Love collection in lab-grown diamond jewelry. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Shopping online might be easy, but it doesn't feel like Christmas. Trade your scrolling for strolling. Bring your family and make it part of your tradition. Sullivan's, where Christmas comes to life.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, when you can expect rain again in Indiana. A police chase in Johnson County this morning. You'll hear how it ended and who's in custody, and why there's a demand for safer streets in Indianapolis and where. Those stories and more after Fox News on 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, it's 11 o'clock.
A gambling scandal returns to court this morning. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, linking the NBA and the Mafia.
This morning here at Brooklyn Federal Court, 31 of those who were charged arriving for a status conference.
Fox's Eric Shawn's outside that court. Among those charged was setting up rigged poker games. Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups, who's been suspended and just pleaded not guilty. And former NBA player and coach Damon Jones.
Prosecutors say Billups and Jones, well, they were the famous names that the mobsters used as bait to lure wealthy gamblers into those fixed games. The games using high tech, like an X-ray card table and a card counting machine to fleece unsuspecting players out of $7 million.
That's Fox's Eric Shawn again. Jones and suspended Miami Heat player Terry Rozier also charged in a separate illegal sports betting case. President Trump talked to China's leader again today, still trying to work out a trade deal amid negotiations that have included high tariffs imposed on Chinese imports. The two leaders also talked about China's threats to retake control of Taiwan and Russia's war in Ukraine. Earlier this morning, the president posted on Truth Social something good just may be happening, trying to end that war. After Secretary of State Marco Rubio reported big progress in talks with Ukraine and Geneva on a U.S. peace plan, NATO leader Mark Rutte tells Fox.
The plan had to be worked through and some elements had to be changed. But there was also good stuff in the plan. And I think this is exactly what's happening. And this is also to the president's instructions to make this happen, to end the meat grinder.
The White House is pushing back on a Reuters report that DOGE has been disbanded 8 months ahead of schedule after the controversial Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency claimed to have saved taxpayers more than $200 billion.
Scott Kapoor, director of the Office of Personnel Management, hitting back with this tweet saying, in part, the principles of DOGE remain alive and well: deregulation, eliminating fraud, waste, and abuse, reshaping the federal workforce, making efficiency a first-class citizen.
Fox Business Network's Darren Vitello. On Wall Street, the Dow's up more than 200 points, the NASDAQ more than 400. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
When you'll need the windshield wipers and when you won't. Partly cloudy and 44 degrees on Monument Circle. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Rain is likely across Indiana both today and tomorrow. And after that,
Wednesday and Thursday, it's like it's going to be nice and dry. There's not any precipitation anywhere near us, really.
Matt Eckhoff with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says temperatures are also going to plummet this week. A 17-year-old boy in Johnson County arrested this morning and taken to the Johnson County Juvenile Detention Center. Johnson County Sheriff Dwayne Burgess says the boy refused to cooperate with the traffic stop and eventually crashed into a garage.
He fled for a certain reason. We tried to get those answers. The parent wasn't on the scene. It was difficult in getting a hold of that parent, and I believe that deputies made notification through the juvenile's phone through Snapchat.
Burgess says the boy also had a gun in the car, and he had just gotten his driver's license right before all this happened. They want safer streets. Johnette Cruz reports on what happened in Indianapolis over the weekend.
A growing coalition of Indianapolis community groups gathered Sunday for the Safe Streets protest, urging the city to drastically accelerate its pace in addressing what organizers are calling an escalating public safety crisis on local streets. Groups like Central Indiana Cycling and Safe Streets Indy emphasize that the transportation system's current design is inherently dangerous for pedestrians and bicyclists. Organizers pointed to city data showing 29 fatal traffic crashes in Indianapolis this year, demanding an end to what they call minimal temporary safety measures. The coalition presented City Hall with a 3-point plan, which includes additional funding, changes to infrastructure, and clear communication regarding updates and plans. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
$2.89 a gallon is the average price for gas across Indiana today, says AAA. Gas Buddy says prices haven't changed much, if at all, compared to last year's Thanksgiving prices. The Hoosier Lottery said Friday that during Thursday night's Cash 5 drawing, a lucky Hoosier bought a $341,000 winning ticket at the Lapel Food Mart, and that ticket matched all 5 numbers, which were 7, 22, 32, 39, and 41. I'm Sean Herrick on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. 11:04. Craig Collins coming back in 1 minute.
Picture this. Your career ends, your paycheck stops. Suddenly you're conducting your retirement with no sheet music. Don't let that happen. I'm Jason Hutchins, and after years of guiding Hoosier families through retirement planning, I put together some of the most important lessons into one simple, easy-to-read book, Orchestrate Your Retirement, a guide to composing a financially tuned plan. Get a copy mailed to you at no cost. Call 317-660-0929. That's 317-660-0929. This book is packed with real-world stories and strategies on income, Social Security, taxes, and how to protect what you've worked so hard to build. Call Guardian Willis Financial at 317-660-0929. That's 660-0929 and ask for your copy. No pressure, no strings attached. Supplies are limited, so when they're gone, they're gone. Orchestrate your retirement. The rhythm of your future starts here.
Investment advisory services offered through Creative One Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. Guardian Wealth Financial is not affiliated with Creative One Wealth or with any government agency. Licensed insurance professionals.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. My name is Craig Collins, and I am filling in for Kendall and Casey. At some point, I promise to have a conversation with myself where I have as much fun as they do every day on the show. I can't claim that that's actually going to happen, but I could try, and then someone will call in and say that I need to be checked into a mental institution. All right, let's do this. It's a big thing that got talked about over the weekend, and it annoyed the crap out of me. But it's the Mamdani-Trump sit-down thing. That didn't annoy the crap out of me. It was just one little takeaway from that meeting that seemed overly friendly, I'm going to be honest. But Trump doesn't care. The thing I would say about President Trump as far as the public is concerned and how they react to the things, he just doesn't care about that stuff. He'll do whatever he thinks is right for him. If he thinks that he's got Mamdani as someone who might actually listen now, might actually play ball with anything that the president might want to do to help New York at some point, then he'll be nice. He'll be nice to anybody publicly if he gets what he wants behind closed doors, which I don't know that that's actually going to happen with the Mamdani in New York. But I digress. That's, I think, the end goal of having the chummy version of a press conference. And Trump made a great point early on in saying there was more media that day obsessed about that sit down than there is when, people come in from other countries. Foreign leaders come in that are currently at war and dealing with whatever it is that they're, and all the wars, I guess, that Trump has ended. There's less people that care in media about that than the socialist, democratic socialist guy having a long form behind closed doors conversation with our current president. But I'm going to play two moments. The main moment I'll play second that everybody's talking about, but this was just before it in the press conference. Someone tried to ask Mamdani and then also Trump to react to Mamdani calling Trump a despot, among other things. He's said other things about it. And Trump, I thought, was fairly amusing, non-politically. Like if you just took a step back and you watched a reporter ask two people standing next to each other who have said fairly strong things to the negative about each other, and then you watch Trump laugh at one of the things that was said about him. Like, as a human, you'd have to say, okay, that's not the response I was expecting from this situation, and just move on. Of course, that's not what happens with mainstream media and how they handle it. But I just want to play this for context sake before I get to the other one, because this happened first, and then later there was another attempt at a gotcha moment that Trump also handled different than you would have assumed he'd handle it.
Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you'd be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views. And what I really appreciate about the president is the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers.
Okay, so I'll stop you right there. That was a very political response from Mamdani, who didn't want to say that I've changed my mind or I take back any of the crazy, salacious, over-the-top things I've said about Trump. And so President Trump sitting next to him could go any road he wants. And I just want to tell you before I hit play on this one and the other piece of audio, mainstream media, left-leaning media, whatever you want to call it, would have you believe that Trump would go insane in these moments. That's what they're expecting. They're expecting Trump to go off the handle and say, you called me what? And yell at the guy in front of people the way he dressed down the leader of Ukraine, at least once. And dresses down other people sometimes in public, even members of the media. And Trump did not do that at all. And somehow this is still wrong. Media doesn't care how Trump reacts. They just care in how they spin it as being terrible. But here's what Trump said.
And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
Mr. President?
I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting.
That's all he had. You got a 45-second political answer from Mamdani where he's ignoring the question. And then Trump actually answers it being like, I've been called worse. Despot's not so bad. So somebody else upped the ante. Another reporter asked about the fascist word being used and thrown around. Trump's a Nazi, all that crazy stuff that Democrats say. And once again, President Trump specifically didn't take the bait, and he actually didn't even force Mamdani to answer this question. He jumped in and said, I don't care. Say what you want. Let's go ahead and move on. This is incredible in one way. And you can call me a Trump fanboy if you want. I don't care if you do that in reaction to this story and what I think of it. But if ever you were going to extend an olive branch to the other side of the political aisle and the crazy rhetoric that they've said about you, and remember, Trump was almost killed. He is miraculously alive because he turned his head at a moment when a bullet would have hit him and taken his life. And he's walking around and still excusing the behavior of the other side of the aisle when they go above and beyond for extreme rhetoric in trying to attack him. There is something powerful about this if you add all those pieces contextually to it and you just ignore, if you're someone who hates Trump, that he's the one saying it. This is the kind of thing that if a Democrat did this, they would be praised universally. Not just, I think, by their own party and mainstream news media, but probably also some begrudging people on the other side of the aisle would say, you know what? That was a powerful moment of just trying to let the past be the past and move on from a person that was almost killed. But here's what actually happens, and then I'll tell you how this has been spun to be ridiculous and anti-Trump.
I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. I'll
tell you the reason I left this part in, because this is before the actual interaction that comes up. And I actually forgot that I left this audio in there. The reason I left this in is because that's a very political answer to, I think, a very good question that Democrats in political places above you, Mr. Mayor, have said that socialism is bad. We've seen it be bad time and again. Anywhere that dangled it as a carrot that's good, it inevitably is always more corrupt than anything you have that you can point to as also having issues. Capitalism isn't perfect. It's way better than socialism. We've learned that lesson again and again and again. And yet he won't say that. He won't even discuss the finer points of it. And he'll be very overarchingly political. He did say the words, "I'm a social democrat," which maybe some politicians wouldn't go that far. But that's barely acknowledging the actual question being asked. Then the reporter takes it a step further by talking about what Mamdani has said about Trump.
That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
That is incredible to me. I don't mind. He's hitting him on the arm. He's saying, it's fine, just move on. Because in Trump's brain, he's so far from a fascist. It's so ridiculous to call him one of those when our society is so very different than a totalitarian government run by a king, even though people go out and protest No King's Day, that it's just easier to skip that question. And the person asking it is coming from a friendly place to Trump. It's someone who would like to get Mamdani caught in something, and Trump just disregards every part of it. He doesn't let Mamdani squirm. He lets him say out loud yes to that question. Left-leaning media and Democrats as a whole have spun this the most ridiculous way they can. This is what causes disingenuous interactions between the left and the right, if I'm being honest about it, is when you spin a version of, it's not a big deal, it's political rhetoric, you said it, I've said stuff, let's move on and let's find a place of common ground. In a moment as powerful as that, and then to have everybody say, see, Trump admitted he's a fascist. That's insane. And they're doing that. And they know that what they're doing is so far from the intention of it, and they don't care because they have a narrative and they want the narrative fulfilled at any stage, no matter what. Throw out all versions of doing news reporting correctly or well as a society. And this does cause people who aren't Trump, people who are worried about the reaction to what they say and do. People like Mamdani, as he's demonstrating time and again in that press conference, to say these ridiculous non-answer things, this political speech bullcrap that's just the reason that Trump gets elected. The reason that so many people like this individual is because of the way he pushes back on the norm of political conversation. And he did it here to his detriment, and he didn't care. And then media did the most predictable thing in response to it, which again is the reason why we have so many other people that are terrified to act like Trump acts. And Trump uses this to benefit him from time to time, as I've said before. We talked about it earlier. I'll discuss it again here in a little bit. But President Trump coming out strong against politicians that were telling military men and women to ignore him, ignore the directions he's giving as the commander-in-chief. That caused a whole lot more people to talk about that story in mainstream media than were talking about it when Democrats did the video in the first place. A bunch of Democratic politicians who have now on television said they have no specific order from the president that they think was illegal and should be ignored by military men and women. They put out a video, a long form, don't listen to anything Trump says, and it blip radared on a whole lot of mainstream news because they don't care about that. Don't listen to Trump is great for them. And then Trump goes on Truth Social and says, the penalty for that seditious behavior, that type of undermining the very, very important aspect of my role as president, as commander-in-chief of the military, it's death. Now, that is something he's not saying he's going to do it. He's just reminding people of what it is. But in all honesty, I think Trump is just saying something salacious that he knows media will obsess about, because in order to talk about it, they're going to have to explain the first part of the story, the part they ignored. To get to the point where they attack Trump, they have to admit out loud that a whole bunch of Democrats were telling military men and women to totally ignore the current president of the United States. And that also seems bad. Is it the way I would go about dominating news media? Probably not. Is it the way that a lot of you listening to the show would go about dominating news media? Probably not. But does it work, especially for Trump? Yeah. And when you're going to say something as light as, go ahead and call me a fascist, no big deal, let's move on to the next question, and media spins that the way they do, what's the harm in going the other road and saying something salacious that they'll be able to attack because they treat everything you say? Trump could wake up in the morning and recommend people go out and get donuts with their coffee, and people would be like, fascist telling us to buy donuts. And it's just insane the way that this works. But all right, quick break. A lot more. Craig Collins filling in on the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
The Affordable Care Act is not affordable, and the people who claim it's affordable now tell you that we have to pay subsidies in order to make it affordable for the people. Now, there was some talk that Democrats were going to try and engage some level of delay, air traffic controllers not getting paid, military not getting paid, and children starving in order to get their political way. And they think that that's progress. Children were going hungry, I was told.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hi, I'm Dylan, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As a customer service specialist, I love helping couples find their dream engagement ring. And guess what? I just got engaged, so it was fun to create one myself. First, my fiance tried on a bunch of ring styles and she was drawn to a classic diamond pave setting. Then we looked at different diamond shapes from pear to oval to cushion. She fell in love with the princess cut. At Shane Company, you can create a one-of-a-kind ring and get it in days, not weeks. Because a friend wants you to have a magical holiday proposal. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Potential cannot be measured, and it can't be taken away from you either. You never know how strong you are, how capable, and how amazing you really are until you face a challenge. Our Franciscan Health orthopedic teams guide the steps you take to overcome life's hurdles. Be ready for the high fives, the constant encouragement and care plans designed for only you that help you realize your extraordinary potential. Learn more at franciscanhealth.org/orthocare.
Looking for a cozy spot to relax, work, or grab your coffee to go? LC Coffee House in Noblesville, Indiana has you covered. Try our indulgent affogato, a sweet blend of espresso and ice cream, or sample our coffee flights to discover your perfect brew. In a rush, our drive-thru is ready to serve you fast and fresh. Need a space to collaborate? We offer meeting rooms perfect for co-working. Whether you're grabbing a quick drink or spending the day with us, LC Coffee House is the place to be.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country, but Senator Jim Banks is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Senator Jim Banks at 202-224-4814 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Shopping online might be easy, but it doesn't feel like Christmas. Trade your scrolling for strolling. Bring your family and make it part of your tradition. Sullivan's, where Christmas comes to life.
This hour powered by Pierce Jewelers, designers of fine jewelry.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. My name is Craig Collins, filling in. Thrilled to be with you. Bunch of stuff out there to talk about. Let's do a little bit about the NBA, shall we? And the multiple defendants in the NBA gambling case. They're all discussing plea deals, according to a bunch of news outlets out there, because of course they are. I think that that's really interesting. The dominoes are going to fall very quickly in the world of gambling and sports because of how many people aren't going to want the punishment that they deserve specifically. And there is one name being talked about a lot that I think is kind of fascinating. This guy is Damon Jones, an ex-NBA player, a coach, someone who seems to be very closely tied to a whole bunch of gambling organizations or mafia groups, someone who might have very much helped make this as crazy it is. I'm sorry, I'm having a bit of a problem with my voice right now. I think I need a drink of water. I need to pause for a second here. But anyway, the NBA gambling case is just so ridiculous to me because we're tip of the iceberg version of a thing right now. Yeah, that was a nice pregnant pause there while I got a sip of water. This is a very interesting moment before I think inevitably we find out a whole lot more terrible stuff. But the thing that I thought was most important to realize about some of these people, and Damon Jones, again, is a name I'm giving out for specifically this reason, is because of who he is as far as his life is concerned. He's a guy that wasn't drafted. I wound up playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA for about 3 or 4 years. And according to a lot of people, behaved as though he was going to get paid NBA player money for the rest of his life. And he didn't. He only made it a few years in the league itself. And his spending was out of control. He then actually became a coach for the Cavs and wound up being, somewhat connected to the basketball world in which he probably grew up envisioning himself be a part of for a longer amount of time. And so he got himself in some debt. There's even stories out there saying that Damon Jones asked everybody he knew for loans, everyone around him for money as much as possible, because he kept gambling more and more of it away and living a lifestyle that was ridiculously beyond his actual current paycheck that he was getting as a not NBA player. 2 things about this that I thought. First and foremost, of course, individuals like this inevitably turn to whoever is actually dangling money in front of them. And of course, they exist in sports. Of course, there's people who are connected to the world of sports. And honestly, I know a lot more people now who gamble on games than they should. They place bets on everything, especially prop bets, and how much money you can make on those little simplistic bets. They don't actually change the outcome of the game, meaning they don't actually change who wins and who loses. But you can change something smaller than that and actually wind up winning a whole bunch of money if you place a ridiculous bet on something littler. It seems to be, by and large, what people, connected to this whole thing, and what they were actually doing. I'm sure that at points, maybe the full outcome of a game was changed the way we've seen in the past. But this just seems like the kind of corruption that you assume also exists in politics. And I know I don't mean to spin everything into politics, but you find the weak person, the person who's in debt more than they should be, the person who's struggling or has asked every favor from everyone in their life and stopped getting those favors anymore. So they turn to something worse. They turn to something that doesn't actually make their life better. And I'm not saying that the right answer is to loan this person more money to stop them from doing this. But these people are always going to exist in these places, whether it's basketball or politics. The bartender out of New York in AOC who wins a surprise election by saying crazy stuff that she actually believes, who then probably enriches herself like Nancy Pelosi before her and changes some of her beliefs to be even crazier because people are writing her checks and her life is changing financially. So I do, again, the biggest reason I wanted to discuss this is just to think about how many Damon Joneses there are out there in the world of the NBA, in the world of politics, in the world in all these places, because I think they're going to be the individuals who take most of the blame for a very corrupt system and a whole bunch of money that's being handed to them by the dark forces that will get less information about than we should. Because I don't care as much. I care about Damon Jones being faulted and punished for the bad things he did. But I would rather, and this is what the story was saying and why I decided to talk about this topic at all, I would rather have him be the whistleblower to tell me about the other people who are much worse than him, who are doing the terrible things and controlling a whole lot of people with their bank accounts, because taking those people down is more valuable than getting the Damon Joneses of the world. I want to get everybody. I'm not saying I forgive somebody for their own sins necessarily if they give me a bigger sinner, but I do think that's an important byproduct of this, and I think we're going to see a lot of that. If you're willing to take money to corrupt a sport that you grew up your whole life playing, you're probably willing to take a protection from the government to throw all those other people under the bus. Another thing out there that I thought was interesting, this is definitely a pivot, something less serious, although I guess sort of connected. A woman got in trouble in a Walmart for taking a $20 bill she found near the cash register, like near checkout, that seemed to be just forgotten by someone else. She saw it, she put it in her pocket, she left Walmart, didn't think about it again. It's finders keepers sort of thing. She unfortunately did this in Pennsylvania, a place, and I think many other states have these rules too, where if you steal money without trying to actually find the person who owns it, you can get in trouble. And she got in so much trouble, there was a disorderly conduct offense against her. The police were going after her. Somebody called and reported the $20 missing, and they went to security footage and saw this woman stealing it and figured out who she was. But anyway, several years down the line, I think from when this initially occurred, she has finally defended herself in court with a lawyer by offering to give the $20 back. And the funniest part of this story, if there is a funny part to this, it to me is the fact that at one point early on in the legal problem she had for taking the $20 at the Walmart, she offered to give $50 to the person who lost the 20 in order to make it all go away. She wouldn't have to hire a lawyer. She wouldn't have to spend all kinds of additional money on trying to defend herself from a surprising charge. And I think that she's probably not the only person in our society who's taken a $20 bill they found on the ground, but she's someone who was caught doing it on video without trying to find the correct owner of said $20. So it wound up being a years-long court case. And as I said, the inevitable result of it was paying the lawyer a bunch of money, but then also just giving the $20 back. And the person who went, after her in court, you could have made $50. You could have made it a couple years ago if you just said, it's fine, just let it go. Let it be a thing that goes away. I don't know. You tell me what you think about that story. I just thought it was interesting. The woman went viral for telling all the aspects of it on social media, because of course she did. People go to social media now to talk about everything, whether it makes them look good or bad. Who cares? So go ahead and do it. All right, quick break. A lot coming up. This is Craig Collins filling in on the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
It's time. You've been putting off that kitchen or bath remodel long enough. What are you waiting for? Get started today with Boer Remodeling. Boer Remodeling customer Kathy had a bath remodel with Boer. Kathy, talk a little bit about your experience.
Our experience with Boer has been terrific. The process was so easy and seamless. When we decided to do a larger remodel of our first floor, Boer was the first company we thought of hiring.
And were you happy with the results?
The results are amazing, and we are so happy with our home and the work that Boer did.
Peter is another recent Boer Remodeling customer with a new kitchen. Peter, what was the best part about working with Boer?
We especially liked the active participation that we were able to have in selection of stone for the countertops. Really came out beautiful. The cabinets also came out very, very well.
The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. They'll guide you through the entire process. Start with a free consultation. Talk to Boer Remodeling today. That's BOOHER, BoerRemodeling.com.
This holiday season, give the gift of Indy's most iconic dining experiences. Now through December 31st, Hughes Culinary is offering a 20% bonus gift card with every gift card purchase of $125 or more. That's 20% more to give or keep for yourself.
And gift cards are available at all Hughes Culinary restaurants, St. Elmo Steakhouse, Harry and Izzy's, the HC Tavern and Kitchen, and 1933 Lounge. You can also order online at HughesCulinary.com. Make the season unforgettable with gift cards from Hughes Culinary.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country, but Senator Jim Banks is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Senator Jim Banks at 202-224-4814 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What the weather is supposed to throw at you this week. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Rain is supposed to fall in Indiana again on Tuesday.
It looks like it could be done by mid to late afternoon. It shouldn't be raining around sunset Tuesday, so thankfully this looks like it's just going to be in and out real quick.
Matt Eckhoff with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says that rain is supposed to clear out by Wednesday, but he urges you to bundle up because temperatures are about to drop. Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups was in a New York federal courtroom today. He is pleading not guilty in his federal case involving rigged poker games. And Heinz is out with turkey gravy in a bottle. That company saying that that's inspired by Friends' famous Moist Maker sandwich. It also has a recipe card for preparing what they call the ultimate Thanksgiving leftover sandwich. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Food insecurity is an urgent problem, one that impacts real Hoosiers. You can help today. Gleaners needs donations. Your contribution goes further with Gleaners. For every $10 you give, Gleaners leverages their resources to turn your $10 into $90 worth of groceries for families who desperately need help right now. Your gift benefits local community members, and every dollar counts. Gleaners also needs volunteers now to help with warehouse distribution. Go to gleaners.org and donate or get involved today. It's the season of giving, so why not give yourself something that lasts? Now through December 15th, Financial Center is offering mortgage and refinance rates as low as 5.50% or 5.9% APR, helping you save more for years to come. Financial Center makes things easy with local experts and options for every homeowner. Start now at fcfcu.com/mortgage. That's fcfcu.com/mortgage. Subject to underwriting guidelines. Not all will qualify. Equal opportunity lender. See website for terms and conditions and MLS number 509724.
Black Friday deals are happening all month long at Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield. You can lease a new Ford Escape or a Bronco Sport for just $339 a month. Plus, you could save over $13,000 on a new Ford F-150. You always get more with Andy Moore's Get More Guarantee. More savings, more selection, and more for your trade. Buy your vehicle 100% online. It is so easy to do at AndyMooreFord.com, and Andy Moore will deliver it right to your door. Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield is the place for your car, truck, and SUV. And if you've got a business, Andy Moore Ford is the place for your commercial vehicle. Not only to get your new medium to heavy-duty F-Series trucks, but their service bays can handle vehicles up to 35,000 pounds. Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield for all the Black Friday deals. Check them out, 2713 East Main Street in Plainfield, or online at Andy Moore Ford. That's Andy Moore, M-O-H-R. I love Andy. AndyMooreFord.com.
See the diamonds at Pierce Jewelers. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, diamond rings, and diamond bracelets. They shop the world to bring you the best. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers. Need to sell your home without the hassle? Sell your home to people you can trust. Call Simple Quarters, 317-900-HOME. Simple Quarters, sponsor of Fill Up in the News with Tony Katz.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show. 93 WIBC. My name is Craig Collins, filling in during the holidays. I'm here today and tomorrow. Kendall and Casey will be back after Thanksgiving. So please check out everything going on here at the station and, be excited when they get back in just a few days. Very deserved vacation for them. Let's play this audio first. This is the U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matthew Whitaker. He was on News Nation talking about Ukraine, the United States, Russia, the peace deal that sounds like it's getting closer to happening. This is the actual reporting as of yesterday that first U.S. met with Russia. They hammered out a version of a deal that, according to a lot of mainstream media, Ukraine hated, and it had too much capitulating to Russia in it. And then the United States sat down with Ukraine, and now there might be a different version, a more ironed out version of said peace deal that gives Ukraine more of what it wants. And this is going to go back and forth. Whitaker is making an important point, though. The U.S. and specifically the president, only person who's capable of making this go from a thing that's an idea to a reality that causes peace between those two countries. And you have to do that by being the tough guy in the room on both sides. You have to tell Russia they don't get everything they want. You have to tell Ukraine they don't get everything you want. One of those two things has been far less popular with the American people, at least some of them, than the other. But here's Whitaker explaining how this is really just a Trump and Trump alone thing to get this done.
President Trump is mediating this situation. He's putting pressure on both sides like a good mediator does. And ultimately, I think we're going to get a good outcome. But, this is why you don't insert yourself halfway into sausage making process and object to what's happening. I mean, this is we're in the middle of the deal being hammered out, and there's a lot of voices. But at the end of the day, President Trump is the only person that can bring both sides of the table and hammer out a deal.
Yeah, I believe that is true. I believe the same was true when Biden was in charge of our country. What I mean by that is the president of the United States is the only person that can actually make that deal between those two powers, mostly because of the amount of help that Ukraine counts on the United States for in order to fight any version of this war without losing as resoundingly to Russia as they would have without our help. We are the powerful friend that has the capability of both pushing Ukraine to do more to get peace done and also being able to push back on Russia by not taking too much. But Ukraine losing something was inevitable. They're not powerful enough to stand up against Russia and take back Crimea, which is what they wanted the entire time in all this, is a U.S. power forcing Russia to surrender territory to Ukraine. That's not going to happen. But nonetheless, I just think it's really interesting to hear that discussion and to hear that point from the ambassador to NATO from the United States, because again, Trump won't get credit for this. Mainstream media will somehow tear it apart. Say that he was too friendly with Russia, too willing to do this or that for the dictator that he envies in Putin, when this was the only way to actually get peace. And a lot of people are dying every day, as Trump has said and others have said, because of this conflict. And getting that to end, getting that to stop would be a good thing, as obvious as it is to say that. And one last piece to that, the contested regions that exist in that part of the world, like the Donbass region, are areas that Ukraine didn't have full control over before this conflict started. So surrendering some of that territory to Russia in order to end this fight, with the expectation that the rest of Ukraine is even more protected from Russia by the United States and others, mostly by Europe, I think is what Trump would actually like to see, more so than us having to fight this, war from so far away, even by proxy. But giving a larger protection to Ukraine as a byproduct of Ukraine surrendering something to Russia, it seems like a valuable way for Ukraine to prevent more death, to prevent more of its soldiers from dying in a war that longevity only helps Russia. The longer they fight this, the more the power that Russia has comparatively to Ukraine is important. If I'll just say it this way, and then we'll move on. And a whole lot of people out there know this is true. If Ukraine were to fight Russia in an endless war, Ukraine will, as it already has, be utterly devastated by that, more so than Russia will be. The harm to its country will be much more severe, already has been, than the harm to Russia. Everyone and their brother knows this, and so ending this war now would be good for the remainder of what's left of a what many say already is a war-torn country. Keeping a semblance of what they've protected so far would be better than fighting for another year and having a worse scenario where you still inevitably probably give up the same things. The U.S. is not putting boots in the ground to fight this war for Ukraine. That's not going to happen. Trump knew that, knows that, of course. Biden knew that. Everybody knows that. Russia knows that. So they just don't have the cards, is the way that Trump keeps saying it. But getting close to a peace deal sounds like a good thing. And, of course, the credit won't be given where credit is due. One other political thing, just to, get off the beaten path a bit that I thought was interesting. This is a GOP representative in the House, Maria Salazar. She called out Maxine Waters, who's one of the crazier people in Congress, says all kinds of insane things. But she called out Madam Waters for the reasons that Salazar thinks she's a bit of a hypocrite, as obviously many politicians are. I did like part of this. This is a longer clip. I don't know how much of it I'll actually play for you. But as Salazar is starting to say, look at the travel that Maxine has done. Look at the, amount that she seems to really like places like Cuba and the amount of time she's gone there, and question why. That's a thing that these Democrats who say that they hate the fascists and they hate the people like Trump, even though he's not what they say he is, seem to like some other fascists. They seem to like some other people. Here we go.
Mr. Speaker, if there is someone who has seen the horrors of socialism up close within the Democratic Party, is in the House, and it's the Honorable Congresswoman Maxine Waters. And I would love for you to support this resolution specifically because, Madam Waters, for decades, you traveled to Cuba dozens of times to visit Fidel Castro personally, whom you consider your friend.
This is all true.
Congresswoman Waters was in Havana, and she saw the destruction of biblical proportions that Castro caused on that island, who at the time in 1960 had the highest per capita income in the Western Hemisphere. At that time, Madam...
Now here, I'll stop it here, because Maxine Waters is already getting mad, and she's going to step up at the end and try to renounce. I rise to take down her words, is one of the things that Waters says as she stands up. But there's something really interesting to me about everybody's going to gotcha each other now. And they've always done this. This isn't new. I'm not going to pretend it's new. But I feel like part of this is in reaction to the Epstein stuff. And I haven't talked about that during the fill-in shift today because I don't want to. And it's not because I don't want to, because I'm scared of what's coming in it. I don't care who gets caught. Republican, Democrat, great. Catch everybody. Give us the actual unredacted version of information that shows us the amount of horrible people that were connected to this disgusting person and created a sex trafficking ring that harmed children. Wonderful. The fact that some people out there think that you're retreating to your political side of the aisle simply because when people blame Trump too much without any proof that Trump did anything wrong yet, you say it seems like you're jumping the gun on saying he's guilty of something he's not guilty of. I played audio last week on another radio thing that I do where CNN was admitting that there is no reason right now to think Trump is guilty of anything. There's no information out there that they currently have that demonstrates that Trump committed any kind of crime in his connection to Epstein. That's CNN saying that. So it seems like it's valuable. But anyway, because of that, I wonder if there's all these other gotcha things that we'll see in rapid succession. Maybe they're defenses of people who are going to be caught up in the Epstein stuff. I don't know. Who knows what it could be. But I actually love to see Maxine Waters specifically squirm because of how insane she normally is. And she said stuff like stand up and fight, punch people of the other side of the aisle in the face, basically. Maxine Waters is not a very big lady. It doesn't seem like she should be the kind of person calling for violence like that herself. And her friend, Fidel Castro, your friend over here, whoever it is, it just feels so connected to me because hopefully the end result in all of this is all of those relationships that all of these people have in politics, whether they're old ones or new ones, they come to light and they show us how ridiculously corrupt and broken the entire system is, which a whole lot of us know. But this is the draining the swamp thing, in my own opinion, actually potentially coming out and being at the heart of the rest of the time that Trump has in office. And I do think it's uniquely interesting. And I know Trump fought it in certain ways as it was going, wanted to move on from the Epstein stuff much more than put it all out there in the world, which his own supporters didn't want to see happen. I would rather see people get caught and in trouble. But I think it's interesting that at the end of all that, he went ahead and signed the bill that they put forward with him and said, good, let's get it out there. Let's be done with this. Because I think after that whole period is over and after hopefully a whole lot of people get caught and a lot of stuff isn't redacted, we can get to work outing the other corruptions that are currently going on in our society and in politics and hopefully get to a place where, hey, you wanted transparency over here. Let's do it over here and everywhere else, because inevitably we'll learn just how deep this hole is. And I think a whole lot of us believe it's profoundly, profoundly deep. And this is, again, just the scratching of the tip of the iceberg. Similar to, as I said a second ago, the gambling stuff in sports seems. It seems like we're at the forefront of the beginning of we're going to learn a whole lot of bad stuff about what athletes and or refs or other people did to enrich themselves by affecting even just little parts of games. I don't know if they affected the entire outcome of everything all the time. I'm not saying that to be naive. I'm just saying that I'm going to wait for more information before I say just how deep that hole goes too. But it feels like we're circling the wagons on a lot of this stuff. Like we're going to get to the beginning stages of more and more information. And if I'll say this, and I'll give credit to Trump for it, even if you think it's inappropriate, out of all the things that people likely voted for Trump for, like the thing they most wanted to get, other than maybe the economy getting better, is this. It's transparency to the corruption that exists in government. And that's on both sides. That's the Bernie bros who might have actually voted for Trump, which Mamdani and Trump both claimed happened. That's everybody that says that one of the targets or enemies of the people is the politicians and political corruption. Getting more information there, getting more information about any corruption, how it ties to the mob or anything else, feels like it's getting us closer over that target, and I'm thrilled to hear that happen. All right, we'll take a break. We'll try to end with some silly stuff. I have some silly things, including a discussion on when you should make your bed in the morning that went viral. A lot of people debated this. And I have another Dear Abby that I wanted to ask you about, and actually also a story that involves an adult website. So all that coming up at the end of the show, right before Tony Katz takes over again. This is Craig Collins filling in on the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, why did Marjorie Taylor Greene resign and absolutely get rid of that temporary protected status? That is after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Cameron Nigel here. I've had previous experience with weight loss injections, and they worked, but the provider was very impersonal. With Premier Weight Loss, it's a totally different experience, Hammer. Their offices are professional and relaxing and impressive. It's not a compound product. It's true medical guidance, not just a telehealth chat request. And by the way, Hammer, the price of this most popular option is $350 per month.
Everybody's journey is different. I lost 50 pounds on my own, but then I hit a plateau and I couldn't lose anymore. And that's when I reached out for help. And Premier Weight Loss, they customized a plan specifically for me. And they got 2 different locations. There's one at 96th and Meridian. There's one off 106th and 69. Please stop by pwlnd.com. pwlnd.com. And I'm telling you, you're going to feel so much better. Make sure you tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Don't wait until Gold Friday. Get specially priced tickets for the Pacers-Pistons game.
Players outside the arc, now center of the floor. Siakam drives, whips that left-hand pass into the lane. Caught and finished by Isaiah Jackson.
Get the best ticket prices of the season with your Indiana Pacers Gold Friday deals presented by KeyBank. This week only, get specially priced tickets for the Pistons game on Monday. Get your tickets at Pacers.com/Gold Friday. That's Pacers.com/Gold Friday.
Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning. Owner Robert Kirby says there are advantages to adding on mini splits to help heat and cool hard-to-reach spaces.
They can see if there's a heat load in this side of the room or the other side of the room and concentrate their heating or cooling to that side of the room. And you can use them in spaces where there's not always a lot of room for ductwork. So big space savings on that.
Just go to KirbyHeating.com. Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning is your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro dealer.
Truck drivers, the holiday rush is here. Take advantage by becoming a Schneider driver. By driving for one of America's busiest carriers, you'll stay busy during the holiday season and throughout the new year. Plus, as a Schneider driver, you'll have access to top quality driver support and newer equipment spec'd with the latest safety and comfort features that drivers want. Don't wait. Get a jump on 2026 by exploring jobs in your area today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Are you ready to put joint pain behind you and get to a place where persistent pain doesn't control your life? The dedicated orthopedic experts at Community Health Network are here to turn those goals into a reality. With personalized treatment options that include robotic-assisted surgery, we'll help you feel your best so you can get back to enjoying your hobbies again. Learn more about your care options at ecommunity.com/ortho. Community Health Network. Exceptional care, simply delivered.
Do you remember what was happening in America? Families struggling, billions in wasteful spending. But Senator Todd Young fought back. He voted for working family tax cuts, and Senator Young voted to crack down on waste, fraud, and abuse, saving taxpayers billions. So call Senator Todd Young at 202-224-5623 and thank him for supporting the Working Families Tax Cut. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Shopping online might be easy, but it doesn't feel like Christmas. Trade your scrolling for strolling. Bring your family and make it part of your tradition. Sullivan's, where Christmas comes to life.
Head online to the contest page at WIBC.com and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra Thursday, December 4th at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. My name is Craig Collins, filling in, doing my best here to fill the seats of two people. At some point, maybe I'll have a conversation with myself, which might be insane. Producer Kevin can always jump in to be a part of the show. He's here every single day, of course, and anybody else at the station who's hanging out. If you hear me say something crazy and you want to jump in and be a part of it, feel free. I do see a lot of people commenting on the social media pages. especially, I guess, the YouTube page. So maybe I'll pay attention because I'm in again tomorrow for Kendall and Casey there, too, and throw some of those comments out throughout the show, too, if you want to get involved with us that way. Some quick things before we get out of here. So two influencers went a whole lot of influencers are probably going viral every day. But these two made news that I saw, and I thought they were interesting. The first one, her name is Katie. She is a food influencer, and she made a dessert that she'll be serving at Thanksgiving in her refrigerator. The problem with it is she used one of those bins you use at the bottom of the fridge to put, like, vegetables and stuff in. And she just squished a whole bunch of items together in it like it's a pot. And she's leaving all those to feed it to people later this week. It's like a deconstructed pie, I think is what she's saying. And so many people say this is disgusting. It's pure nastiness. It is wrong on many levels. These are some of the reactions to it. Kate will try anything, by the way, as her social media handle, which of course it is. If you're going to mush and stuff a whole bunch of things together inside an area of your refrigerator that is not supposed to house items like that, you're willing to try just about anything. But I have two reactions. The first one, it's gross to watch her stick her hands into this, a mush of a thing at the bottom of her fridge. And two, she can't possibly show this to people that she's serving it to and expect them to eat it. I think that anybody who sees her dig out the smushed version of her pie from the bottom of her fridge container and then put it on a plate for them will kindly thank her for that and then throw it out and then maybe call some sort of mental health authority to try to get their family member help, because it just looks nuts. But it's not the first time I've seen an influencer do this. They want attention more so than they want to do something that's actually good and enjoyable for the people in their life. So they do this. They put it up on social media. They hope for the crazy reaction that we all give them and the grossness of it so that they're talked about even more. And darn it, it's working. I'm doing it here. But I guess my PSA of the day is don't make something look as gross as this does and expect anyone around you to actually consume it. If you're doing this for social media clicks, expect that you're also throwing all of it out. The other one, I was even more amused by this story. Hot girl influencers have been accused of using AI animals in their photos, whether it's farm animals, things that you wouldn't find on the streets of New York City that they have, or even just like dogs and cats. There's a whole bunch of influencers who seem to be asking AI to add, animals to their photos. The hot chicks don't need this, man. I'm being honest about it. You don't need it. You're going to go viral just by being a hot person that takes a photo of yourself on the internet. The people who need to add dogs and cats to photos are guys like me. We don't get paid attention to unless we have a cute animal on our lap. You don't need this help. Stop taking this from us. All right, that's it. I'm out of here for today. See you tomorrow. Craig Collins filling in. Kendall and Casey, 93 WIBC.
Don Fisher for QC Kinetics. I was struggling with chronic knee pain and wasn't encouraged with the options of risky surgery and pain pills. QC Kinetics offered the best option for me, cutting-edge regenerative medicine.